Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Wrestling is Cool podcast. I'm Santi. That's Sancho. How's it going, brother?
It is going fantastic. Can we talk about the greatest pivot that's happening right now in wrestling, my friend? I'm starting out hot out the gate, and I was going to tell myself, maybe Sancho, you should take it easy, ease into the day. But no. That's not what we do here, all right? The greatest pivot in wrestling is about to happen, even better than the pivot of the heel Rock and Cody Rhodes. We are seeing the addition of The Miz into Karrion Kross and Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. Yes, we are back, baby. The train is moving. The steam is coming out of the top. We are coming down the track, as they used to say, Santi, and all over the world. Digga, 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 digga. We are moving, baby.
It's a chugga.
No, it's
chugga.
dugga.
It's absolutely not.
It's dugga.
Learn your train sounds.
Did you post it? Did you post it?
I did.
You are not allowed.
No, this is a different train. It's a different train. No, it's a different ticket.
Yes, no, it's not. No,
it's a different ticket. The last train got canceled. It got derailed. It died.
Not allowed on the train, brother. Talk about an upgrade. We get The Miz, a two-time grand champion. Huh?
Okay, but
we are so back.
Serious question. Do you think it's still going to the same endpoint that they were hoping for with Odyssey Jones? Okay, you don't think that the story ending is changing?
The Flashpoint, we just went whoop.
So we're watching the Snyder cut. We're watching the Snyder cut right now.
Yeah. 4x3 black and white, brother.
I still think it's gonna suck ass. I still think it's gonna be booty. I still think it's gonna be ass.
But yeah, like I said, the greatest pivot in WWE, and then it's gonna show The Rock going. And then I said, put in The Miz.
Sancho, I have a question for you.
Hit me.
You know how wrestlers have these monikers, we have Kane, the Big Red Machine, the Undertaker's the Dead Man, Latino Heat, the Viper, the Animal Batista. If you want to go AEW, the Aerial Assassin, Will Ospreay. If these wrestlers were literally their wrestling moniker, they were literally an animal. They were literally a viper. They were literally a big red machine. Who's the most powerful in this universe now? If they were literally their moniker.
Oh my God. I'm trying to, what was the Big Red Machine sounds pretty devastating, doesn't it?
It could, but it could also just be a machine. What could it could be a giant computer that's red.
I have to go the Iron Sheik, dude. Sheiky baby.
What?
The Iron Sheik is like Metal Mario. You know what I mean? That was pretty good.
So what? Okay, but what about the Dead Man? What do you think of that? Yeah, he's dead, right? He could just be a zombie. We've seen zombies in media just getting absolutely destroyed. It's one shot to the brain and they're done. The animal, that could be like an Animorph situation where he could transform in and out of different animals. That'd be kind of sick, like Beast Boy from the Teen Titans.
Yeah, I am Googling, but the Jim Ned Hart, the Anvil. That's pretty cool.
The Anvil. But that's an inanimate object. It's an inanimate object. What's it gonna do?
Chuck Liddell, the Iceman, that was kind of cool.
The Iceman, that's pretty sick. That's pretty sick. Wrestling, I know. Yeah, it's not wrestling.
Surprised Chuck didn't make it to the WWE. He would have been a sick WWE wrestler.
You know what? I think there was a period where Vince McMahon saw UFC as too much like blood sport, and that was like prime Chuck Liddell.
Yes, true. I know what's not going to be good, the Big Valbuski.
I like the idea of the Scottish psychopath. You give some Scottish psycho a couple swords, and all of a sudden it's Bloodline rules in there with the Scottish psychopath.
Oh, boo him! You got to commit, Santi. You got to hit it hard. You can't just go, Bloodline rules.
It's gonna be Bloodline rules.
There it is. Oh, the Dynamite Kid's pretty nice.
Oh, dude, he's just blowing up people.
Yeah,
I like
Dynamite Kid.
The final boss, that might be a little too on the nose.
The Dragon. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Ooh. Huh? Yeah. Oh, but now we have the Mad Dragon, Ilya Dragunov. I'll take a Mad Dragon over a regular dragon every day.
House of the Dragons vibes going in. What about the Doctor of Thugonomics?
You got all of these super dangerous things, and it's just some guy just rapping.
Dude, he'd be the worst doctor to go to. El Generico.
Okay. I mean, I don't know what you do with that. as a real life, battle royale character, what does an El Generico do?
I enjoyed El Idolo. That's a good one, dude.
That is a good. Latino heat. What if you had like fire powers in this world?
Kind of like Fantastic Four.
Yes,
like
flame on,
Johnny
baby.
Blaze,
flame on.
Flame on. I'm just looking down the rest, just see anything that. I mean, what was it? Hot Rod, right? With Roddy Piper.
That's a car, right? A hot rod's is a super powerful muscle card.
I like the dog face gremlin for Rick Steiner. That one was pretty cool, dude.
That's a good one. That is a good one. I mean, I like over in AEW, the aerial assassin Will Ospreay is a sick moniker, and we have evidence from Assassin's Creed that assassins can be pretty badass.
What about Mr. WrestleMania? Sean, I mean, I know the Heartbreak Kid.
I mean, I feel like that's cheating. That's like if I were to say John Cena, the GOAT. Oh, no one's going to beat the greatest of all time.
Says that.
He was literally called to the ring as the greatest of all time.
Okay, that was a little bit much.
It was ham-fisted. I agree with you. It was I was like, okay, what are we doing here?
It reminds me of Tom Brady recently debuted in the NFL as a broadcaster, and then he's still around. You can't just throw out the GOAT moniker when he's there, right? Isn't that weird? Like,
do you think
moniker cannot be when you're kind of active? You have to be like,
okay,
you need to be a black and white photo for a while before
you need to be a documentary.
Yeah,
you need to be a documentary. Okay, I mean, like, do you really believe that? Like, you can't be the GOAT while still active? And I'll throw out a different example from a different realm. How many people called Game of Thrones the GOAT of TV shows? Right?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Up until it just collapsed on itself at the very end, and people no longer see it as such. So that's an argument on your end for sure.
Well, yeah, because wouldn't you say that the Tom Brady has this aura mystique of who he is, but then him as a broadcaster may expose that aura mystique?
No, I don't. No, that's like, okay, no. I got the perfect example. Like, would you take the moniker of greatest of all time away from MJ because he's a terrible owner of the Charlotte Hornets? Right?
Maybe.
No, you wouldn't.
I feel that Michael Jordan's aura was so protected by the lack of social media. Because when I was a kid, I was like, dude, this guy's in the 90s, Space Jam. This guy was in McDonald's commercials. Like, he was like one of probably the nicest guys I ever met. And then you find out, there was so much underlying
You only saw what the PR machine wanted you to see.
Exactly. And then he's like, he's not the nicest guy. I don't know, dude. But I do know the Punjabi Nightmare is the winner.
Oh, come on, dude. Game over. Game over. The Punjabi Nightmare just going out there, Punjabi nightmaring everybody. Ooh.
Yes, dude.
Oh, man.
There's some good, dude. Wrestling has some good nicknames.
They do, man. I was looking through some of them, and some of them are just like, man, like, these are sick.
Well, I do think one of the best NBA ones, though, because we were talking about it for a second, is Slim Reaper.
Oh, that's good.
Durant. That's a really good one.
I like Reaper. Maserati Marvin now for Marvin Jones Jr. Marvin Harrison.
Okay.
Marvin Harrison.
Okay.
Marvin Harrison Jr. Marvin Jones.
What if I was a lame-o? My favorite one was the Big Fundamental. Come on,
that's
dude.
Stupid.
Timmy D.
That's
Tim
dumb.
Duncan,
that's
dude.
So,
come on,
bro.
The Big Fundamental.
There is no doubt that Tim Duncan is one of the GOATs, but like, he's one of the most boring players of all time.
Oh,
he is. He's good. It's like now somebody's saying, "Oh, my favorite player is Jokic." It's like, yo, he just works. He scores. He's an amazing player, but he's not entertaining.
You are encroaching on dangerous ground, sir. I am a Tim Duncan fan. All right, I am a big Fundamental fan. But to talk about, we forgot about one of the best monikers of all time.
Hit me.
Sexual Chocolate.
Oh. Yo, oh my goodness! Oh
God, what a weird. Can you imagine? Like, I know we saw a little bit in the Vince McMahon documentary is about to come out soon, and they show not in that documentary, but one of the behind the scenes of Puke and Vince McMahon going back and forth talking about how great Puke is. Oh, you puke! What is that meaning like? Like, you're going to be known as Sexual Chocolate now, Mark Henry, and you're no longer going to be the world's strongest man, which is a sick moniker to have. You're going to be Sexual Chocolate, and your song's going to be, Isaac Hayes type of vibe or a Barry White type of vibe?
Dude, call me crazy. Part of me believes that Vince McMahon has these meetings, gives these terrible ideas, and waits for their reaction. If they push back, they're like, oh, this guy's gonna grab the brass ring. He could be one of the guys. But if like, yeah, you're gonna puke, and if they just sit there and accept it, then he just trolls you for the rest of your career. Yeah, you're gonna have a mop. Moppy's gonna be your girlfriend. And if they don't push back, he's like, all right, I was kidding, but okay.
Question: Who has the worst gimmick change, or who went through the gimmick gauntlet? Is it going to be Baron Corbin or Prince Albert?
Oh man, Prince Albert. Oh, I think you got it with Lord Tensai. I feel like at the very end of his career, he got it. Yeah, he won it with Lord Tensai. I mean, Cody Rhodes is an interesting tale too, right? Like Prodigy to Scholar to Stardust to the face mask to the current American Nightmare. He kind of went through it too, if you think about it.
Is he part of Legacy as well?
Yeah. So he's been through it, but man, Albert, A-Train to Lord Tensai, that's a wild ride, man. Like that is like a lot of highs and lows in there.
You're gonna be known as Prince Albert.
This is so funny. Would you like me to explain the joke? No, Vince, please don't.
No. Jeez, man, wrestling has definitely changed. Wrestling has come well. You know, we're gonna talk about all the the latest that's happening, but I have a good start off question, a springboard, a launch pad, a thinking man's, because wrestling is cool. We're not just all hijinks and shenanigans. We are a proper club.
Sometimes we talk for 40 minutes about hot dogs and eating strategies.
Yes, and then the people go, they stop being human beings and just regurgitate the news about wrestling. I feel that Roman Reigns, as a wrestler now, is entering an interesting era. And I don't want to make this like, oh, they're milking Roman Reigns. I just had this thought when I was on the treadmill. Is Roman Reigns the next Undertaker? And when I mean, not a supernatural, but a guy that's going to wrestle during the WrestleMania season and then have a big match in WrestleMania.
So like the special singular attraction, right? For the big moments, maybe the Saudi show, maybe SummerSlam, WrestleMania, but not, being part of the conversation overall, but not being inserted into every waking moment of Friday Night SmackDown or Monday Night Raw. That would have been Taker, I would say, like 2010 to about 20. I mean, for the rest of his career, really, from there. Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting thought. I do think that he is getting to those levels. I do think that we're going to get to the point where come WrestleMania season, the question is going to be, okay, who's facing Roman? Who gets Roman at WrestleMania? Just like how that was the question, a predominant question heading into WrestleMania season of who gets the Undertaker, who goes after the streak. Even when the streak was over, who gets Taker still? It was just part of the conversation of WrestleMania season, and I think I think that you're right. I think that's going to be the same case for Roman Reigns for a while.
Because he is a main attraction and he is a draw. And he could literally pick up a feud with anybody and you wouldn't feel like, ew, this is going to be interject with whatever's happening. And at the same time, I think Triple H will find a way to naturally weave Roman back into the fold once this Bloodline saga sunsets. And he's just going to be Roman Reigns. Because I think what's interesting is when we talked about before WrestleMania, after WrestleMania 40, the fallout, we're like, well, Roman's going to be a face now. I don't think I could ever see him going back to being a heel Roman. I can't buy it anymore, considering that there is bigger foes and bigger heels for Roman to go against further, because you have to think about all the different matches that are down the line for Roman Reigns. Of course, you could revisit Cody, but it's the Roman versus The Rock, which is what they've always wanted to do. And I think that match is still on the table, but it's no longer The Rock being a face. It's The Rock being a heel against the over babyface Roman Reigns.
The final boss. It's interesting that you mentioned, him never being able to be a heel again. I think he's transcended that. I think that he can just be his character and still feud with babyfaces or heels. That's what Taker did in his last portion of his career. Triple H was a babyface. Shawn Michaels was a babyface. Punk was a heel, but Roman Reigns was a babyface. Cena was a babyface. Shane McMahon was a babyface. These are all of his feuds in WrestleMania. So Roman can still get to that. I think that the more that you talk about it, the more I'm convinced that Roman is now an Undertaker-like figure in several ways, where it doesn't have to be this cut and dry, you're the good guy, smile for the cameras, you're only going after the evil guys. I think that this is just now the tribal chief Roman Reigns. He is now a final test for heel, babyface alike. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I think that that's where the Roman character is going. I think you're really onto something.
And most interesting thing is like he's still athletic. He's still able to go. He doesn't have any kind of limitations. He doesn't have that many wear and tear like the Undertaker did in his heyday. And he still has plenty of opponents to go through, even the CM Punk. And at the same time, I think his limited moveset would work because this is a super version of Roman Reigns that's going to take a lot, like you said, trial by fire. But at the same time, his promos doesn't have to be intense. And by the way, the Undertaker and Roman already crossed paths, and he says he's the new big dog. So there was kind of like a torch moment, but he's just not this supernatural wrestler that we all expected the Undertaker to pass the torch to.
Yeah. Like we got that passing of the torch moment. It's my yard now. It's just everyone hated it back then. And
it was so good though.
I loved it, man. Just 15 minutes of him getting booed out of the building. It was excellent. But now I think we can now take advantage of that passing of the torch moment. Roman is getting paid, I think it was revealed, like $15 million a year. He's making tribal chief money. You want to make that tribal chief money, Seth? Do you want to make that tribal chief money?
God, that promo cut so hard, right? And then when The Rock comes back and like adds to it, he's like, "Oh man, we're having meetings, and you think they're asking about you, Seth? You think about you asking just you champion?"
It's so good, man. So good.
And then what does he say? Diarrhea Dwayne.
Yeah, man.
We can't forget Diarrhea Dwayne. It was there. I heard it. And I know diarrhea. Yes, it's awful.
I have the best diarrhea. Ask anyone. They'll tell you. Santi's got the best diarrhea. What can I say?
So what does this mean? What does this mean for Roman, though? It's because I was thinking, like, is Roman retiring soon, or is he like in the sunset, in the twilight of his years? And I think he is just going to be on a Kawhi Leonard type load management schedule.
Yeah, but he already is, and I think it's going to get even more light. I think it's going to get even more light as the time passes, and Roman is going to get to feel like even more and more and more like a single or biannual attraction, and it's still going to land every single time. People are going to lose their minds for whoever gets the Roman Reigns feud. I think, Sancho, it could get to the point where in the latter portions of the Undertaker streak, when it was at its height, where you had to genuinely ask the question, what should main event WrestleMania? Is it the Taker match or the title? I think we could get to the point, and frankly, I think we're there. We can get to the point where should the title go last or should Roman go last? Wow. It's just that right now, Roman has always been by the title. It's always been Roman and title. It's always been involved. But let's say it's The Rock and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, sans title. That main events. It does. You know it does.
Well, the thing is, as well, is it's different from Vince's era and Triple H's era because it is, like I said before, it's justified. It is a justified ending because you would say we've already built so many or planted so many seeds in the past to justify Roman and Rock being at Mania, whereas they try to kind of like front pass it in a Disneyland term, put it in the front fast lane pass because we were there at WrestleMania 40 and we're like, no, we were setting up Cody versus Roman here. Now, what's the Rocks? But now if they do it again, it's justified. We're like, oh, I accept this.
Yeah. I want to remind people we were fine with the idea of The Rock versus Roman Reigns. We just didn't want it at 40 because they built up to Cody versus Roman. But I never lost sight of wanting The Rock versus Roman Reigns. I was vocal. I wanted Cody. Cody's the right guy here, but I still want The Rock at some point. Don't get me wrong here, all right? I still want the final boss.
It was a good moment where he's like, or should I sit at the bar and eat some of the chips and go, or should I sit at the head of the table? You're like, yeah, dude.
Here's my question to you, okay? So, like, there's rumors that The Rock is coming back within the next couple of months. Would you like to place a bet? A 5-gifted bet? It just depends on, maybe we have different views. I think he comes back in 2024. Do you think he comes back in 2024 or 2025?
2024.
Okay, so we can't do it. Okay, just
the iron is hot.
I get it.
Valid. Yeah.
But last year he returned at Raw Day 1 and the start of Netflix. Like, they might save him for the Netflix episode of Raw.
One of the most interesting things, I don't know, we're going to talk about SmackDown later, but I forgot that I was at that debut SmackDown on Fox.
Oh, you were at that?
I was at that.
Ew, brother.
It was what? It was so cool. And can I look?
Ew, you saw Kofi getting squashed in 5 seconds. You saw Cain Velasquez. Ew.
Hey, you're gonna hate on me.
I already do.
I thought Cain Velasquez was pretty cool because my friend and I were MMA guys, right? A little bit, but Cain Velasquez had a lot of videos of him doing some cool stuff down in the AAA where he was doing hurricanranas and stuff, and they never let him do that in the WWE. And I was like, why are you not letting him be the Lucha, Cain? That was the only reason why I was hype.
You were hype for Cain Velasquez? Oh, man. What a wild ride Fox.
I know.
The WWE on Fox just was in general, man. Starting off with like just a universally hated episode, going into which you were at, going into
the suite.
Yeah,
in the suite, by the way.
In the suite.
Yes, I was. I was.
To like the era of dog food Roman Reigns to, I mean, Fox kind of got gypped because then it was the pandemic and the Thunderdome era. But then, man, that like late 2022 to 2024 SmackDown. Oh my goodness. Just some of the best television ever, man. The first portion of 2024, January, like New Year's Revolution, like that episode of SmackDown, all the way through to WrestleMania might be the best stretch of wrestling ever. And it mostly happened on SmackDown on Fox.
It became must-watch TV. You were interested. You were like, what? Because The Rock set everything up, man. He would have a social media post the night of or the day before. And you're like, this Rock's unhinged. Is he going to be unhinged on TV? And yes, he was. He was even more unhinged on TV.
And then the Pat McAfee stuff on his show, man. Just
oh god,
yes. I do look. I hate the Thunderdome era. I think people look at it with rose-tinted glasses. It wasn't that bad. It was terrible. For every one good thing that you can think about the Thunderdome era, I can think of 100 bad things. It was a terrible time of professional wrestling. But I still think that SmackDown on Fox overall for those 5 years was mostly fantastic.
Would you say, though, that entertainment in general during the pandemic era was just terrible? Like, even basketball wasn't that great in the... what do they call it?
The bubble, the Disney bubble. That's why they call LeBron James's 2020 ring the Disney ring, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Fans definitely add an atmosphere to it, but it's triple, quadruple that in wrestling. It really is. Like, I remember 2020 NFL, and I was like, I'm here for it. I'm entertained, like I'm there to see just what's happening in the field, the atmosphere of what's happening in the stadium for an NFL game or an NBA game truly is secondary or tertiary. And when it comes to sports, I am there for the game and I'm there for the commentary. When it comes to WWE, I think it's commentary, in-ring action, crowd reactions are 1-1-1. Like, they're all side by side. How often do we complain about dog crap crowds? How often do we praise amazing crowds? It's just the nature of wrestling, and that's not a thing in other sports mediums and other pieces of entertainment where the live crowd is such a key proponent of the entertainment aspect of that said thing. Look at Backlash, Bash in Berlin, how much better they were because of a crowd.
Well, I got to give kudos to the WWE as well. They pushed the envelope during the Thunderdome. They didn't just sit back.
Sure.
They were trying to re-innovate and figure out new things, add new wrinkles to their broadcast. And I think that's where the NBA and the NFL could have done so much more. Like, if there's no crowd, get me in the field. Let me hear some of that dialogue. Let me be a part of those huddles. And that's what I was enjoying so much from the XFL, during Vince's era of the XFL, and then its revamped version. There's just so many things I feel like the WWE did right in the Thunderdome that helped them set them up in the future. But of course, the biggest plus out of the Thunderdome, out of everything, is Roman Reigns, just to bring it back to him. Yeah. Roman's realization that he was on the shelf watching that Thunderdome stuff. He's like, why is everyone acting like a crowd's here? Let me do something different, make this more cinematic. Bring the people in. Man. Yeah, we gotta watch those Jimmy and Jay and Roman matches on Thunderdome. Those things were crazy.
Do you think that the Thunderdome era and what Roman did has to, or puts Roman in the conversation for one of the most influential professional wrestlers of all time?
I think people don't give Roman enough credit for saving the WWE, and I say saving it in a light way because the machine would have kept moving, but it kept the WWE relevant and it pushed them past all those issues and pulled them out of the mud. Not as like stratospheric as Stone Cold at that time, but if you look from that moment in the Thunderdome to now, he's pushed the business to Stone Cold level errors or close to it.
I think you're right. It's like what he did and how he managed to pivot and change the game, like change the rules of engagement during the pandemic era and continuing that type of work, even when the crowd was there, I think just fundamentally changed wrestling. I really do believe that. Like, there's people that have fundamentally changed the game, and I do think that Roman is one of those people with the work that he did in the pandemic era of WWE.
I feel like they accidentally as well untapped or retapped the Bloodline, because I don't remember anyone really talking about the Bloodline up to that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like the whole.
It was just about Roman.
Yeah. Like the whole Anoa'i family was not really seen as this, like, oh, what a dynasty in professional wrestling, because Roman was for a really long time like just not acknowledged as being part of that. Like, there were occasional mentions that he was cousins with the Usos, but they never really leaned into that in a very meaningful capacity. They really only started doing that at the start of the pandemic era when Roman returned and started, demanding that the Usos acknowledge him.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I mean, that lineage does have its roots and it had its heyday, but when it came to the modern day wrestling, it was really just in documentaries and
2010s. It was definitely not a point of conversation. The lineage of the Anoa'is,
and no one really talked about Yokozuna being part of it. Like, if you knew, you knew. Yes. But it wasn't like the WWE wasn't really putting that in the forefront because they get of course, kayfabe wise, he's from Japan. It blew my mind. I'm telling you, when I'm like, wait, he's not Japanese? This dude he's an Islander? Like, I was so confused.
I mean,
it blew my mind.
And you'd think that they would have learned from how dumb that is, but then they go and make Kofi Kingston have a fake Jamaican accent. Oh, God. Jafaican Kofi.
Okay, this is a perfect opportunity, and I'm going to stand on this. It's not a real glaze factory, but I am dead set on this, and this is a real hard-hitting fact and opinion. It's a weird thing to say.
All right, folks.
Giovanni Vinci was going to be the next Razor Ramon. The next Razor. No, remember, Razor Ramon, not Scott Hall. Totally different. The next Razor Ramon, and they blew it.
Did they? Because Razor had one of those moments. The 1, 2, 3 kid. Come on.
That's different. That's different.
I know.
It's not Apollo Crews. It wasn't a roll-up. It was actually a good bout on Monday Night Raw. I hear you, but they had some banger vignettes. They had a great, that one white suit, the Gucci suit. He looked fantastic. I'm like, oh man, this guy has that swag, that aura. I'm excited to see him wrestle. Maybe he's a new Hunter Hearst type of pedigree, type blue blood. And all of a sudden, the dude goes in a roll-up. Was it cut for time, Santi? I don't know.
No, that was an elaborate troll. The amount of time that he got in vignettes and the lead up and how long his entrance was, how long his in-ring undressing and posing was. I thought it was brilliant, bro.
Oh.
I loved it. I thought it was genius. What would the conversation and the narrative have been like if he beat Apollo Crews? Great. You beat Apollo Crews. Everyone beats Apollo Crews. Who cares, bud? Yeah, take a pat in the back. Congratulations. You're probably never going to be seen again on SmackDown because it's 2 hours and it's hard to get on. Just ask poor Cameron Grimes, who started off by beating Baron Corbin, all right? This now has us talking about him. People are asking questions. People want to know what the heck that was all about. Some people thought it was hilarious. Some people hated it, but people are talking about Giovanni Vinci in a way where I promise you, Sancho, they wouldn't have been talking about him at all had he just gone out there and won against Apollo Crews in 4 or 5 minutes. Because that's the alternative. That's the alternative.
I like that universe. Put me in that.
No.
I don't want a Santino. There's only one Santino.
Sancho, there's a meme in my community, all right, in my Twitch chat.
Oh boy,
we're
going down to the gutter here, folks.
Oh yeah, the gutter of Santi's Twitch community. Anytime a terrible match happens or a lame segment, my community spams. Sancho would have put that on a PLE. That's the. Sancho would have put Giovanni Vinci getting rolled up by Apollo Crews on a PLE. That's what would have happened had Sancho had booking powers. Sancho would have put it on a PLE.
Can you give me other examples of my PLE powers?
Everything to do with the Pure Fusion Collective. You get put. Sancho would have put this on a PLE.
Is that all?
No, it's pretty much every episode. Whenever there's something that people just don't like, Sancho would have put this on a PLE. It's become a thing, brother. It's become a thing. So, Gio.
I don't even know what to say. At least I'm memorable,
There you go, just like Giovanni Vinci. Just like Giovanni Vinci. You're memorable because you're getting buried by my Twitch chat, for having, and here we are. Giovanni Vinci, memorable for being hilariously buried after a ridiculously drawn out entrance. It's genius, man. We're talking about it. This is good.
Yeah, but I would have rather be in the universe where, hey, Giovanni looked great. He has a cool finisher. I cannot wait to see who he goes after next. This is going to be a great heel to have on the SmackDown roster. That could be a formidable foe to LA Knight in the United States belt. We need heels on SmackDown that are not the Bloodline, that don't have spooky powers like the Wyatt Six on Monday Night Raw. We don't need a monster. We need someone who's a technical savant and who could go, have fun promos and be able to have cool vignettes that are not Legato, who are trying to cosplay as these Breaking Bad characters. Like, Giovanni Vinci was an answer that they had in their back pocket, and they wasted it for a fart joke.
No. Listen.
Fart joke. A really drawn out haha joke for your Santi slammers. This is what I call the community. They're little Santi slammers.
Do you, sir, believe that Chelsea Green is a valuable member of the WWE roster?
She is underutilized and still survives as her little joke character, but I need to see Reclusa in the building.
Okay, but as is right now, do you like Chelsea Green?
I love Chelsea Green, but
just answer. That's it.
Oh, don't do this.
That's it. Do you like Joe Hendry?
Yeah, but what do you?
Interesting. Okay, all right. So, Joe Hendry
get rolled up. Did Joe Hendry get rolled up as a TNA guy? I'll come out of nowhere.
Joe Hendry
got thrown out of nowhere. Okay.
Hendry debuts on NXT. Much hype and is eliminated from the Battle Royal within 3 seconds. Chelsea Green debuts in the Royal Rumble, is thrown out within 3 seconds. Both incredibly memorable moments. Joe Hendry got ridiculously more over with that. Chelsea Green has found a great spot in her career in the WWE. And I think that you're not giving Gio Vinci enough credit for being able to build something out of this. I feel like the men's side of things could use a Chelsea Green amongst their midst.
Do you yield the floor, sir? Because
I do declare I do pass the floor to the Honorable Sancho West.
the delegation of the Glaze Factory. I would definitely say Joe Hendry, though, they followed up with a great promo with Shawn Michaels being mad. They didn't follow up anything with Gio being really mad. They didn't do a digital short, if I'm wrong, and let me know. They didn't do any of that. Chelsea and Joe Hendry are very talented, established wrestlers in respect to coming in. Gina, you got to look at Giovanni Vinci was clowned out by Ludwig, like clowned out, like destroyed, not even on TV for months. Finally comes back, getting back to the way he was from NXT when he was a very formidable heel. And you're like, great, we're going to get this new heel to SmackDown. And again, gets clowned out again. I'm sorry, dude. If you get beaten up months ago by your former friend and then you're not even in that storyline and then you get clowned out in your debut, that's not good, man. It's not good for business.
Look, I feel like you made a good point there.
Thank you. Thank you. And I don't want a comedic character when I have Pretty Deadly running around and have Grayson Waller and Austin Theory with their hijinks. I want a Andrade-like Carmelo guy who could put in the work and be a good heel for LA Knight.
Would it work for you if he next week against Apollo Crews then demolished him, just kind of like showing the world that was a fluke? But it also shows like a fundamental flaw in his character that he's so cocky. And like, I think it could work. I'm trying to be optimistic here because I just look at the alternative of him having beaten Apollo Crews and we wouldn't be talking about it this much. I promise you, we just wouldn't.
It'd be business as usual.
It really would be. It really would be. So, I think this puts Gio in make or break scenario, right? When before I feel like had he won, it would have just been like, okay, like let's see what this guy can do. But I think the next step could really help elevate Gio or just completely end him.
See, what they could have done is package Gio with Keon James. Money, working together.
Sure.
Great kind of combo. But you know who's a better valet manager for Giovanni Vinci? Luigi Primo, baby. My man, retired, bring him out. Making pizzas left and right. Destroying people. Folks, if you didn't know, on the Match Club, on the Patreon, on patreon.com/SantiZap, we watch a pizza death match. Mm-hmm. That's right. A pizza death match. And it was fantastic.
For those that don't know, there is an indie wrestler named Luigi Primo, Pizza Luigi.
That's right.
That comes out to the ring, and sometimes while he's wrestling, he is spinning pizza dough and making a pizza. It's wrestling.
Fantastic.
It's real graps, I'm telling you.
It is real graps, mate. Real graps.
We kind of talked about them a little bit, but I want to talk about them actually later. I want to talk about the 2-hour Raw. Let's talk about that.
What do you want to talk about?
What do you want to talk about?
Oh, your 2-hour Raw that they took that third hour because your bum ass reviews on patreon.com/SantiZap. Because if you didn't know, he is the Raw reviewer. And like, wow, Santi's doing an awful job. We're going to take that third hour away. So his 30 minutes previews don't have to happen anymore. So yeah, I love it. Good. Because you're terrible as a reviewer. You're the worst. You put in, you're late. Minimum effort, no production value.
you put a SmackDown logo.
They loved it. They loved it. Loved it. It's about effort, Santi.
So Raw going to 2 hours from post Bad Blood until the end of the year. We, as far as of the making of this, we don't have any information as to why, but I can make assumptions. Obviously, the Raw deal on USA was set to end.
Raw deal.
Nice. It was set to end with the USA Network, and they needed to find a temporary home until the Netflix deal kicked in January. And if I'm USA Network, it's like, why do I want to carry 3 hours of a show that's not going to be here long term when I can develop an 11 p.m. show that's going to be here in the long term? Maybe that's the case. Or, Sancho, yes. What if it's 2 hours on Netflix, no commercials? Maybe that's it. Maybe it is just a 2-hour Raw.
I would love that.
I would love that too. But if it's no commercials on Netflix, like if it's just a continuous, non-ending stream of a show.
Kind of like a PLE where it has like commercials from WWE stuff.
Sure. I think I'd be fine with that. But a 2-hour Raw in a month that in a time stretch, right? October, November, December is always slow for WWE. Last year was just an anomaly because it had the return of CM Punk, but usually December is kind of dead. October, November, that is the buildup of 2 PLEs, bro. That is the buildup of Crown Jewel, and that is the buildup of Survivor Series, War Games, one of the big 4.
War Games.
That's an hour less that they have to build to 2 PLEs. I think that's problematic. I feel like that's going to make it difficult for them to build true, like, awesome storylines going into 2 separate PLEs. And on top of that, like, Raw really hit their stride with 3 hours in terms of making it feel concise, making it feel cohesive, and making it into a good 3-hour show after over a decade of people saying 3 hours of Raw is too much. They figured it out this year. They figured it out, and now they go to 2 hours.
It's going to be the same thing that we've seen on SmackDown, being a 2-hour show where it's going to have a storyline's going to be missing for the week.
Yep.
And you're going to be like, what? Because Raw was able to touch every single storyline almost all the time, at least with a mini backstage segment. But I agree. It's going to be a problem on that end. But I think what is going to be good is that I think the show is going to flow better. When they had that first hour Raw commercial free, God, it was great.
Oh, so good.
It was so good. It was like, if the hour went by so fast and we had like 4 kind of storylines touched at that moment, right? It was awesome. And we got a great couple of matches in there too. And then I was like, that second hour when they started bringing those commercials, I was like, oh, I feel it.
Yeah.
I'm starting to feel this. But I think what it does hurt is that what we've seen on SmackDown is that if you're a mid-carder or you're trying to break through, you're not going to get that much screen time, and you're going to have to nail everything you have. You can't have a bad segment if you only have your one like bi-weekly shot on Raw, and it's over. And then we're not going to see you for a while, and then we're going to maybe see you in the ring next week. You know, it's one of those kind of things, and I think it's what that means is that WWE is going to rely heavily on socials to get storylines through. I think people need to get the habit of looking at the WWE timeline for those backstage segments, those interviews, because they have a lot of juices in those. And at the same time, it's going to have to, the reactions, we're going to have to keep up, help people out, get the people going.
Yeah.
Keep them up to speed.
I mean,
one thing. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, as a content creator, I'm like, great, I can go to bed earlier. That's nice.
What I do hope though is that the schedule works out for everybody. What that also means, if you're going to go to live show and you're worried, am I going to get less wrestling? No, you're going to get more dark matches on Monday Night Raw because usually they have dark matches on SmackDown. I don't know, man. It's going to be an interesting thing. I think the most interesting part about this whole entire thing is the USA Network. Monday Night Raw has been a USA thing forever, and at least in the stateside. My quick question for you is, what was the thing that came on before or after USA Free? For me, it was always like Murder, She Wrote. NYPD Blue was always the thing that was on before. And now we have like it used to be Law and Order as well.
Kong kong dun 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 dun.
I'm trying to remember what other shows were the thing after that, but
it's different for me. It's different for me because
what is it for you?
For me, before it's a rerun of UFC Fight Night or
interesting
or poker always plays.
Okay.
And then after Monday Night Raw, it's sick. It's Professional Tag.
Oh, I've seen that.
It's
before.
sick. It's so cool. It's so cool. Anyway.
You wouldn't do well in that, dude. You would get stuck in the scaffold.
Dude, I'm too big, man. No, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I would not be able to do Professional Tag. You got orangutan arms. You're really long. I feel like you might be able to swing around and be able to navigate your way.
I can't even fit in this frame. Look at this.
Dude, this man, for those that are in the audio, he's got Kevin Durant wingspan. It's bizarre. I feel like his arms are taller than him, actually. Like if you were to rip his arms off and you were to put him side by side to his body, to his torso and his legs, it would be taller than him. He's got like, each arm is like 6 feet tall.
And I'm still going. Look at this.
You're like Mr. Fantastic over there.
What would be my finisher if I had these long arms? Because, like Hogan wishes he had a headlock.
He wishes he had a headlock. Oh, yeah, yeah. The monkey with the symbol. Boom.
Yeah. Oh man. So okay, Raw's going to 2 hours. That's a bummer. I feel that you're right that the Raw was on cylinders. It's interesting that now we're gonna get a total of 6 hours of wrestling a week.
Yeah, we're going down. We're going down an hour. Yeah, unless USA gives SmackDown an extra hour, which has not been announced.
That'd be interesting because I think that SmackDown kind of needs it for a little bit because I feel like SmackDown hasn't been on PLEs for a while, unless you're not Bloodline.
That's a fair point.
I don't count the women's tag division because it's like
it's everywhere. Yeah,
it's everywhere. Because I feel like Bayley kind of hurt from all that because Bayley wasn't having matches for a while. And luckily Nia has Tiffy, so they could keep them in the flow of things and pretty deadly. Legado kind of suffered a lot being on SmackDown for those 2 hours. Let's play. I want to play a game, Santi. Who's gonna suffer the most?
Play the game.
I love that guy. I love that guy, dude. He did another one recently. Oh, about voices.
It's so good, man. I love when those videos pop up. Sorry, I thought that was a perfect time to interrupt you with time to play the game.
Yeah. So who on Raw is going to suffer from those 2 hours, like currently right now?
Yes, I got it. Wyatt 6 in American Made.
Wow.
I really think it's them. Think about how much tender love, care, and time they put into Wyatt 6 segments. That is, it's a lot of time. The entrances, the tapes, man. Like, I feel like they're going to. I said in my review that I wouldn't be surprised if they disappear for a while, for like several weeks here until they're ready for their next opponent, their next group, whatever it might be. Because that was actually something that I wanted to talk about in the Wyatt 6. But I think it's American Made and the Wyatt 6 that are immediately in my head the ones that are instantly going to get significantly less tender love and time on Monday Night Raw.
PVC.
PFC, bro. PFC. Well, that would be, in my opinion, a good tragedy. I'm good with seeing less of them.
Like, dude, like I said, they're doing something. I think they should change the name to the Smoking Aces. They're something like that. Like, there's so many things that they can do. But when they had Natalya come out, and I'm like, oh no. And then they all submitted at the same time. Like, all right, that's
done, bro. It's over. It's done. Right? You're not running Monday Night Raw like you kept saying.
Everybody noticed that you tapped out. That's what we noticed.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
All
PFC.
Three of you.
I think what also is going to suffer a little bit is Judgment Day, dude. Judgment Day. I feel that Judgment Day has benefited from the 3 hours because their segments would go throughout the entire show.
Yeah.
They usually had like 4, 5, 7 segments, and they had like a serious segment with a comedic one, and then they would keep going, and they would have a run-in, then they'd have another match. All that stuff led to some great things for Judgment Day, especially with the Terror Twins when they got involved. There was so many great blow-offs with all that Judgment Day, and I think we're going to be missing that. I think LWO is going to suffer a lot as well. I feel like when Dragon Lee cut his promo, I was like, oh, man, this is your one shot. You're going to have to nail this, and it's only going to get those shots are going to be so much more limited when it comes down to it. I think Braun Breaker is going to dominate a lot of those hours because it's the working title for that. It's the mid-card title for Raw. I don't think CM Punk will suffer because I think CM Punk is going to get his time as much as possible.
Yeah.
I don't think Drew. I think Drew has transcended to that time where Drew could have his time on the mic too, get 10, 15 minutes easily. Maybe
this never hurts the proper main eventers. Let's just be straight up about that.
But that's what I mean. Like, I feel like the Ilya, like, considering that he did not win, which I know people say he's not buried because he didn't take the pin, but wasn't this his time to at least make a moment to move the needle? Because that means it tells you, like, ooh, they see Braun Breaker going against Ilya Dragunov at Bad Blood as something, but now they've just put in Jey Uso because for some reason someone goes, wait a minute, you're Steiner, right? Oh, your dad used to wrestle each other. Let's put you in Bad Blood. I find that very interesting to be a good obstacle for Braun Breaker, but this could be Jey Uso's finally going to capture singles gold here.
No.
You don't think so?
Homie, sweet summer child, at this point, I've been inundated, and I understand that expecting anything out of singles Jey Uso, winning accolades, it's fool's gold. They'll make you believe. They'll make you want it. They'll never give it to you. They're not going to take this off of Braun Breaker. No.
But Okay, is it because of Jimmy?
It's because of it could be Jimmy, it could be Bloodline, like it could just be he loses.
Could be Judgment Day.
Could be Judgment Day. Like there's so many ways for him to lose here. Like that he's just not going to, bro. He's just not going to. Not only is there a bunch of ways that he could lose in terms of interference, he's going up against Braun frickin' Breaker. You know, a guy that's just demolishing everybody. Destroyed Super Sami Zayn in 5 minutes at SummerSlam.
Correct. But he's creating a lot of enemies in the locker room. Like that whole, tour of looking at everyone's face and be like, yeah.
Not more enemies than Jay. He's got 2 factions, bro. Timu Bloodline and Judgment Day that could cost him.
Yeah, but Timu Bloodline has not got involved in Jay's business.
But they're going to eventually. Like if we want to go to Bloodline Civil War games, at some point they're going to need to fire a shot over at Jey Uso's side of the camp.
I just find it interesting that that's what I mean. Then why pick Jay then? To beat, like, why pick Braun Breaker versus Jay?
It's a big name for Braun Breaker to beat. Like
not clean. You're not gonna beat him clean.
Doesn't matter. He's a heel. He's fine. He's fine.
Is he a heel? He gets very, very. I don't,
he's not a heel for much longer. Let me tell you. Like they're gonna have to pull the trigger on this man's babyface turn because he is so popular already.
Because where are my dogs at?
Where are my dogs at?
That's a DMX line.
Oh man, but like I can't believe that you are optimistic in any capacity about the Pure Fusion Collective. I'm not think anymore. It's so DOA.
They had Natalya bury them, man. I mean, you can't have all 3 get submitted at once. Yes, you want to see the sharpshooter in Calgary, all right? Sure. Put that on there. Great, fantastic. But have them break the hold. Or have them for some reason lose because of a DQ like they did to Finn Balor. Like I thought that was a great way to keep Finn Balor from the back of the mat and get Rey Mysterio a little bit hurt. But at the same time, bottom line, I can't. What can I do? I can only do with what I can work with here. Yeah. Right.
I just never thought that there was anything to work with. I always
doing great work.
Funny enough, the best part of that match was Sonya's promo. Leading up to Natalya coming out. That's actually facts. That brings up another point. Talked about it last week. Enough with the mystery opponent. Enough with the mystery partner. The YouTube clickbait style that WWE is doing. Who could it be? Oh, bring out your mystery opponent, whoever it might be, because I doubt you have anybody. I doubt you. Of course, it's Natalya. Exactly what we all expected. Stop. I'm done. It's over.
Who's Kevin Owens' mystery partner?
It's Randy. It's Randy Orton. And that one they have us by the balls because I'm going to pop for Randy Orton. It's Randy. Would it be sick if it was Cena? If it was Joe Hendry? Yes, but it's Randy. It's Randy.
That's what I told you. We try to shoot for the moon when the WWE just is meat and potatoes, man. They keep it simple. They understand, like, hey, sometimes the easiest answer, like you always said, is 2 + 2 = 4.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Men so hot.
But like, imagine if yes, I'm okay with 2 + 2 = 4, Sancho. But imagine if a mathematician was like 2 + 2 = wait till next week and I'll tell you. Like that's what it is. And everybody's like, it's 4. We know it's 4. And then you don't know for sure. I'm the mathematician. I'll tell you next week. All right. You got to come back though for me to confirm that it's 4. That's what's happening.
You know what? I was surprised though that in Calgary Monday Night Raw that they actually got a legend of Bret the Hitman Hart to actually just do something without messing anything else up. Because I was worried for a second that Bret the Hitman Hart was going to hit Gunther, was going to get physical with Gunther. And I was like, oh, don't do that to Gunther, right? Because Gunther's on fire. And then Gunther with by far the most memorable
line of the year, man. Line of the year.
Line of the year where he, for those of you that missed it, goes to Bret Hart and he's like, and I knew he was going to be like, oh, Bret.
Do it in your voice. Do it in your voice.
Bret, you think you're the best there is, the best there was, the best there will, but I am Gunther, the ring in hell. And I was like, yes, Gunther. He goes, you know what? You are not my favorite wrestler. You are my second favorite wrestler to the number 1, Bill Goldberg.
It was Dude, he caught me. He literally sideswiped me with that. I was not expecting him to say Bill Goldberg.
And in my mind, I was like, Gunther, there's no way that's your favorite wrestler of all time. It makes no sense. You know what I want Gunther to do now? A jackhammer. Please add that to your finisher.
Oh, that'd be hilarious, dude. With his gauntlet of finishers.
Oh, God. Oh, that'd be great. Bad Blood hit Sammy with the jackhammer.
Jackhammer spear combo.
Oh, and he'd go, yeah.
I love how he came out, Gunther going like this, man, doing the Bret Hart thing. Gunther, man, is evolving into a special heel right in front of our eyes. He really, really is. One of the things I recently talked about is that Gunther's promos keep getting better with every single feud. And that's what you want to see out of somebody like this. And Sancho, I know you don't want me. I know you don't see the vision, but it's happening. It's going to be Gunther Cena. And I now believe, listen, this evolution of Gunther and how good he's getting on the mic, I think he could tangle with Cena on the mic. I think he can actually go toe-to-toe with Cena and not get completely buried and destroyed like Austin Theory and Solo Sikoa have against Cena. I feel like he could actually give Cena not a run for his money, but hold his own with Cena on the mic.
John, you think you're the best, John? They call you the GOAT, John. But I am the greatest of all time, John.
You're a clown, John.
You're a clown, John. You're an actor now, John. You're Hollywood. I am the ring general, John.
We all saw Ricky Stanicky, John.
You run around naked on the Oscar stage, John, making yourself look like a clown.
That would definitely be the route that Gunther would go, right? Like I would actually love to see those two, but I would have been nervous, let's say a year ago, Gunther going up against Cena, and not necessarily in the match because I would expect Gunther to win it, but we've seen like when Cena destroys these people on the mic, it doesn't matter if they win because the talking point afterwards is still that Cena destroyed you on the mic. That was with Solo, and that's what happened to Austin Theory. Cena just needs an equal on the mic because if Cena destroys you, that's all everyone will remember.
Well, I think the thing is because John Cena justifies his destroying you on the mic is like, well, then you're going to beat me up really bad. And I don't want that. I want a very competitive match. But I swear to God, Santi, if he gets jackhammered, power bombed, Boston Crab, put in the headlock, and John Cena does not go down, and he hulks up, attitude adjustment, bang, and rolls him up again, another A, bang, and then he puts him on the top rope, avalanche A, bang.
Dude, you're booking a 5-star match right now. I love it, man. You know, as my community says, Sancho would put this on a PLE. This exact scenario should be how it plays out.
You're like Jackie Chan. You're like, slow down, baby. Little camera. Oh my God, you're disgusting. How can you go home to yourself and go to bed at night? Because you know why you want John Cena to win? Because who do you want to challenge John Cena for that belt? He's on your shirt right now.
No.
What do you see?
I do want, and during the final run, Cena and Punk again. Come on.
It's gotta be me.
Punk would be happy to do the job for Cena.
No.
They'd all be happy to do because they're gonna have to because Cena's gonna go undefeated in this run, baby. Undefeated.
That'd be cool. Okay. Like legit. If John Cena was racking up wins, it reminds me like a Michael Jordan in the Wizards jersey where he's just winning. You're like, oh my God, he's actually doing it. He's beating Gunther. He's beating Punk. He's beating Randy. And who's going to be the last one that John Cena goes up against for the streak that of a lifetime that he's been on? Who do you want? He's beating everybody.
I hear voices in my head. The Legend Killer.
I already said he beat Randy.
I know, but I'm ignoring the fact that you said Randy. Randy I want an I'm sorry, I love you moment from Randy Orton and Cena. And for Randy to end Cena's career.
I thought you were going to say DDP.
No, DDP doesn't get to his chair in time. Patrons know.
God, that was such my favorite moment. I think it's interesting that the WWE has the most rarest thing that in sports always wants, a farewell tour for their biggest attraction.
Sure.
So this is going to be so good.
I mean, they did it good with Vegeta. They did it good with Kobe. Kobe, like, going from arena to arena, always getting that ovation everywhere that he went in his final season. That was pretty nice.
Do you think? Let's see. The thing is, I don't think Roman's going to have this farewell tour type of esque because it's different.
Like Taker never got it, and I don't think that Roman's going to either, because I think that
Rock never got it.
Austin never got it.
Austin never got it.
It's not often that you get it, right? Like, there's some, because it's not often that you know for sure they're done, right? Like Cena, I believe if he says he's done with wrestling, I know they say never in wrestling, but I believe him. I do believe that he would be entirely done with professional wrestling. I don't think that he's not Ric Flairing this. I don't think that he needs to come back for a paycheck here or there. I think he's going to be fine. Then again, we said that about The Rock, and he's back. So, like, you could say never, but I think for Cena, it is never.
Wait a minute. Vamp for a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. This is my favorite part of the show. Your latest John Cena post on X.
Okay, go ahead.
This one's actually a Forza Horizon ad. But here we go. On the 9th, 2/3 of almost every conversation is gossip. Most of that is negative. Digest accordingly.
Dude, I hate when Cena does this stuff. I hate philosopher Cena. It's like, dude, you have the 5 moves of doom. You say the funny thing, you say hustle, loyalty, respect, and move on with it. I don't need the philosophy class from Cena.
Oh no. Would you ever meet John Cena?
Yeah, I would.
I hope one day when we become big enough and we're interviewing the legend John Cena and he's not giving us very direct answers. He's always doing his little thing that he likes to do. And I'll be like, hey, John, did you know that Santi, your favorite fan of all time, muted you on X?
I never did that. You're lying. You're gaslighting. I didn't mute him on X.
I asked you, would you mute him on X? And you said, yeah, I would.
Oh, I thought you said, would you meet him?
No, I said mute.
No, you said meet. You are gaslighting. Rewind the tape. Rewind.
Open your ears, your big old can ears.
No, I would not.
Is that what you work out with?
I remember I work out with no headphones.
Oh yeah,
I know.
People got upset because we were just explaining the modern term of raw dog. Come on.
Yeah. People
live a little. Culture yourself.
Let's move on from this. Real quick, Wyatt 6. What do you think is next for them? Kind of already talked about them, but what I think they're going to be damaged or have less time on TV overall with the 2 hours. I think that they're going to be one of those casualties, but what's step 2 here?
Forgot Damage Control is going to really suffer too. Because they're already suffering. I don't know, man. I feel like this was a great PLE-esque blow-off for them.
Yeah.
I feel like it was booked that way, like the video package and the long drawn-out thing. And I still think, again, if you're going to pin someone, they'll just lay him down on your feet and pose them. You got to do something creepier, Like the Undertaker back in the day. Start putting butter on him. I don't know what you would. Undertaker back in the day used to put you in a body bag. And that added to his aura, and even though it was corny at the time, or when you're looking back and it's like, it's kind of corny, but it added to that, right? And then I think what they need to do, and not necessarily a gimmick match, but they need to find a gimmick type of match that allows them to do something different to a wrestler, like a buried alive match, like a casket match. Something of that sort would add a little bit more to their presentation rather than a 1, 2, 3 pin and pose, because what's that going to look like when they get gold? That they're going to be given a gold belt. They're going to wear it around their waist or tag team belts. It has to be a little bit something different for them. And where do they go from here? I don't know. I mean, they posted a picture of American Alpha and I guess the wrestler type of vibe. I like the idea that they just become on the background and you don't worry about them. And then when October hits, when the Halloween decorations are up and we're thinking about what's our favorite Halloween movie. I think that's when you bring them back out again. So it's a big surprise. Like, oh my God.
Yeah. See, what's interesting is that I have a vision of them going up against the Judgment Day next, but that also sounds like it would be a Mania program, in my opinion, that I think could work for everybody. Like, imagine
New Judgment Day or old
it would
Judgment
be
Day?
New Judgment Day. Like, how funny would it be if they were to haunt Carlito, right? Cool. Like, come on, there is comedy there, and of course them haunting and going after Dominic Mysterio, but I think that Halloween is too early for that, because I don't think that the storyline with Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest is going to hit a natural conclusion until probably end of November at Survivor Series. So I aside from the Judgment Day, I don't know who the Wyatt Six could target next, because I'm thinking groups, right? Like, maybe it's an individual. Drew McIntyre would be interesting, but I don't think that it's there yet. I don't know. Like that, like there's just to me that's there's so much fog of war as to where the Wyatt Six could frankly go.
Well, that's what I mean when they started off with Chad. It kind of like took one off the table pretty early. I was hoping they would start with like a Jey Uso, because remember when at that time Jey wasn't doing anything.
Right.
And you would easily, but that would make him a heel, right? Because they're going up against the biggest face. So, what about anyone from SmackDown? What if they just moved over to SmackDown for a bit?
But there was that freaking moment where he signed a contract with Adam Pearce. So like they brought it into the real world, and like the Wyatt Six have a contract on Monday Night Raw. So I have a tough time with that, man. Like, but
maybe
who cares?
A Bronson Reed.
I don't know. Oh, if they went after Braun Strowman, leaving the Wyatt family, that actually could be fascinating. Again,
yeah, that makes them heel.
It does make them heel. Could be one of those like justified heel situations, right? Like, you were part of the family, man. Yeah. What's going on?
Yeah.
You left.
I'm just looking at the roster to think of anybody. I mean, there's so many people.
I did the same thing. I looked up and down, and I was like, I have a tough time visualizing most of these. And I think you are too.
Yeah, I'm looking at them right now. I mean, maybe NXT. That'd be interesting. Oh God, this is what you do when you're like their brain gets emptied. When there's 2 brain cells left, you just start going. Yeah. For the audio listeners, it is. Wait, we're not even hour 2 yet. You're an hour early to flex.
I am.
What if it was someone on NXT? Maybe like Chase U?
That'd be so sick.
Ridge Holland, right?
Yeah, Ridge Holland, Chase U. That'd be fun. That would be fun.
Maybe Oba?
Who? Did you hear that there is a mystery opponent for Obafemi? It's
a huge shadow.
Yeah. For Obafemi that Tony D'Angelo hired. And a lot of people think that it's Moose from TNA.
No.
That'd be sick. But it's not going to be Moose from TNA.
Again, you're doing it to yourself
I know.
again.
Yeah.
You're doing it to yourself again, because there is no way they're going to use that chamber so early, but they might, because it's CW. And that's always the kicker about this, because they're going to actually be in an arena. And what a better way to introduce Moose to the WWE universe than with CM Punk and Randy Orton on the same card.
Oh man, WWE, dog. It's a good time to be a fan.
Jump back. I think Sheamus is going to suffer from the 2-hour Raw, because Sheamus has been in that outside looking in spot. At least Pete Dunne could go to NXT, get his shine there.
Sure.
I think Sheamus is going to be one of them. I don't know, man. That's a tough question, and that's what I mean. That's always been the toughest spot for the Wyatt Six, is they're just such a big faction. And if you go up against one person, you have a chance to make them look like a heel, because they're just beating up one dude, unless that person is a monster heel. I mean, the only option on the table is, if I think that maybe they put him on the shelf for a bit, is Xavier Woods. If Xavier Woods turned heel on New Day, and they were there, like, don't roll your eyes at me. Good Lord. I'm here just trying to have a conversation, scrape some things, put something together. I'm like you know what? You're like a child. I'm your parent, and I'm telling you, hey, buddy, we only have blueberries in the refrigerator. That's all I can give you. And you're like, no, I know what I want, Fruit Loops. And you're like, I'm sorry, buddy. We don't have any Fruit Loops. I haven't gone to the store. And no, I don't want blueberries. You're hungry. And then you go, yeah, I am hungry. Well, like, you're not hungry enough to have blueberries. There you are. Who should the 1 at 6 go to? Oh, and I go, you know what? It'd be interesting to have Xavier. No, I don't want Xavier Woods. Go to your room.
So Xavier Woods
is an option, Santi.
Okay.
Is an option. Miz is an option as well.
Final Testament.
Don't you dare. See, I'm not that desperate. Get out. You did that on purpose. You did that on purpose, and I hate you. I hate you. You always do this to me. You know what my favorite segment was on Monday Night Raw that I think more people need to be talking about?
What?
Wade Barrett. Bad news, Wade Barrett.
Do you think he comes back as an in-ring?
I hope so. Well,
like,
at least for one match.
Well, that's
Raw.
the thing. So, like, when CM Punk, I feel like if he wins this feud, he goes after Gunther. Makes sense. Right? Drew McIntyre needs to build off a loss. If he's going to lose, to build off a loss, we need to continue to see more of the spiraling of Drew McIntyre. And I don't think there's a better way to continue the spiral than him beating up what he said is one of his few friends left in the world of professional wrestling. I love it. I feel like that's a great next step for Drew McIntyre.
That'd be a fantastic Survivor Series match.
Yeah.
Ooh. Give it to me. Because we were watching Match Club, and we had Wade Barrett on when he was defending his belt at a ladder match. And we're like, dude, Wade could go. And there was one moment where he was just bull hammering everybody. I'm like, dude.
It was fire. He's in great shape too.
What happened to his career? Like, who slowed down his momentum?
Don't say Cena. Don't. I
didn't say anything.
No, you
said it.
You know what you did. Now I have to spin it. You know what you did.
Right? You know I'm right, dude. He was on fire.
He was slightly doing okay. He wasn't on fire. All right.
No,
he wasn't
in
fuego.
Fire. He was an ember amongst nothing. And at the same time, this man has survived so much guff. He went through Vince McMahon stifling his being a buzzkill to his bad news gimmick that he had, and he had that big podium for no reason that he was like on
Sancho,
Shawn Michaels.
Do me one favor, keep rolling here. My headset is broken. I'm hearing like, but they can still hear you. Okay, they can still hear you. Podcast is still rolling, folks.
Folks, I've realized it's been a while since we've been able to go down this path. Step on in. You look to your right. On your tour is the #1 glaze factory, and we are going to glaze LA Knight. We've completely forgot about the greatness of LA Knight, bringing back the prestige of the United States title, defending the belt more than Logan Paul ever did in the 10 months compared to Logan. Didn't even do anything. LA Knight was able to defend multiple times within that. And hey, LA Knight has just been added to the mix for Andrade versus Carmelo Hayes. Oh my God. We're going to have a banger of a triple threat because the megastar LA Knight, has been added to one of the biggest feuds on SmackDown. And what a genius away. And that BFT that he gave to Carmelo, magnifique. And the BFT he gave to Andrade, magnifique. Some good things are happening, folks, because you know why? LA Knight has gold, and why stop at the United States gold? Keep on trucking. Keep on that train. Keep on going. And you know what? That is the reason why the people come to see this podcast. It is not for you. It is for the Glaze Factory. Pristine, organic glaze.
I gave Sancho literally 4 seconds to take over the show while I fixed my technical issues. And in those 4 seconds, he diverted the show right to the Glaze Factory. Honestly, I'm not surprised. If anything, I'm to blame in this situation. I'm sorry,
it's your
everybody.
Fault.
It's my fault.
It is your fault.
But the U.S. Championship picture is the best that it's felt in a really, really long time. So I feel like this is justified glaze. As soon as I said it, I was like, oh, that's funny. Justified glaze. Your Honor, I do declare this glaze will indeed be considered justified.
Let the ruling stand. The glaze was justified. Because Andrade and Carmelo who have not really been building up to LA Knight, but now that they added LA Knight to the mix, you're like, oh, now we see something that's been missing for a long time, and it's just being the belt being around. That's always the case for most belts, and that's where I feel like Bayley suffered, and that's where Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, that belt was kind of on the shelf. There's so many things and the tag team belts. Good Lord. But yes, it's because of LA Knight, who has the ability to be like a CM Punk, to cut a promo, attract the people, give them their big pops, and leave. And when he shows up and does the Stone Cold thing, hits a BFT on somebody and leaves, still great. People love it. People want to see it.
I'm allowed on this train, right? I was never kicked off the LA Knight train.
You are allowed to guzzle the glaze. Come on in, sir.
All right, I'm allowed to guzzle the glaze. Okay, I'm glad. I'm glad that I'm allowed in this one, but not the New Day train, right? That one I'm still permanently banned. No, this is the best that the US title division has felt years, Sancho, because before it was Logan Paul, then before it was Rey Mysterio that was worse, and then before that it was Austin Theory, who really fell off as United States champion. At least a year and a half, this is the healthiest the U.S. title picture has looked. And it is off the back of LA Knight, but it really is as simple as the title being there. But the title was there with Austin Theory and Rey Mysterio, and it didn't feel as cool and as prestigious as it does now. That's why I'm saying this is justified glaze. I do feel like LA Knight has not only elevated the championship, but elevated the division, because, as you said, now the Andrade and Melo stuff matters. Now, just from LA Knight being there with the title, and I've said this before, now these seemingly meaningless feuds and seemingly meaningless matches have meaning when at the end of the tunnel, the winner could get a title match. And that's what we're seeing here. It could end up being a triple threat, which I'd be fine with. Maybe he does Andrade first and then Melo. All of that is good as well.
Hit it and quit it.
Hit it and quit it. I have no complaints over what's going on with LA Knight and Friday Night SmackDown. Always the biggest pop of the night too.
If you're looking at it, this is where it was. It was with Matt Riddle for 49 days, Sheamus for 132 days, Damian Priest for 191 days. What was Damian Priest's United States title run like?
It was pretty boring. It was pretty meaningless.
We had Finn Balor for 49 days.
Yep.
We had Austin Theory for 75 days, Bobby Lashley for 100 days. Remember that one?
I don't.
Okay. Seth Rollins for 47 days. What was that like?
That was the one where Theory tried to cash in on him for the U.S. title and failed. That's all I remember out of that.
Jeez. Okay. Austin Theory then became it for 258 days.
That's the one we know.
Yes, the one we know. And then Rey Mysterio for 85 days, which was
Mm-hmm.
Logan Paul for 273 days.
Oh, so Theory held it longer than Logan?
No. He's short by 20 days.
Oh, okay.
Math, Santi.
Yeah, I don't know it.
So can I look at the matches for Logan? Just real quick.
The two?
He had a Logan Paul defeated Ray. Logan Paul defeated Kevin Owens. The triple threat with Kevin Owens and Randy. And then LA Knight defeating Logan Paul.
He had two successful defenses.
Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio defeating Austin Theory. Rey Mysterio beating Austin Theory. Rey Mysterio beating Santos Escobar. Logan Paul beating Rey Mysterio. What about Seth Rollins? Ooh. Seth Rollins beating Bobby Lashley, beating Matt Riddle, beating Austin Theory, beating Finn Balor, and then losing that triple threat with Bobby Lashley and Austin Theory.
I mean, we're seeing the evidence there, right? The LA Knight. What's nice about the LA Knight situation is that there isn't a tough act to follow.
True.
There just isn't. So LA Knight is kind of working on ground zero, which I think is really good for him. Because look at Cody Rhodes' reign, right? A lot of people are like, not as good as Roman's because it's a tough act to follow. LA Knight doesn't have those pressures, which I think is great because LA Knight seems like he's out there having fun, everyone around that title picture seems to be elevated. I think it's nothing but a win for everyone in this division.
And the reason why I'm bringing up the matches so you can know like who is around that mid card at that time. So just look at real quick Andrade's last run, because he was the one that he was like, hey, that was a sick promo. He was like, I was United States champion. We had Andrade beating Ray multiple times. He had Humberto that he beat. Then he beat looks like Humberto actually beat Andrade, and then Andrade came back to beat Humberto. Apollo Crews, and then Apollo Crews beats Andrade, and then Andrade
that's
leaves.
ass. I would not brag about that and say I was the United States. Yo, that sucks.
I know.
That sucks ass.
I wonder if LA Knight brings that up, but so far not bad. I think that his best, of course, title defense was against Ludwig, which felt like a PLE light. Mm-hmm. Very exciting times for the LA Knight Glaze Factory. People are coming in. They're buying souvenirs. We're already extending the whole. It's fantastic, dude. We used to have a 2-for-1 special, but no more. We're fine. We could charge full price. You know, every time you buy something from the Glaze Factory, I flip the screen around and ask you a question, and people are tipping. Fantastic, dude.
You're asking for tips on the iPad, and you just
dude, just tell me you're gonna want a tip. It's not. We know the question. It's not like how was your day. It's not a mini survey.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
We know the mystery opponent. The mystery opponent is you want a tip. Just get to it.
Gonna be bloodline rules.
It's gonna be tip line rules.
God, dude. I get it though, but it's insane that I've encountered tip culture, and I'm always a big tipper. I love tipping. Tipping to me is important to me because I used to work in the hospitality. I used to be a bartender for so many years, and I love a person who loves to tip. Because, you know, it's an exchange. It's like, hey, man, I'm going to treat you a little bit better. There's a line. I see you. You take care of me. I take care of you type of vibe. But when I just buy a beverage, like a soda or like something from the convenience store, and then there's the tip line, you're like, what's going on here?
Yeah, bro, Subway is asking for tips. Okay.
Hey, I was a sandwich artist. You need to tip me.
No, I do not.
Yes, you do.
Just put the fries in the bag, bro. Just put the fries in the bag and get to work.
I've done that, and I've done it with care. Do you want me to make your sandwich like an artiste, like my
here
on my shirt
is the laws of life, Sancho. If I have to go up to the counter to grab my food, you ain't getting tipped.
That's fine, but I'm a sandwich artist at Subway, and I made your sandwich right in front of your ass.
Yeah, and you're getting paid by Subway. Why should I pay your salary as a sandwich artist?
Because I made it with care, and I actually made it great.
But like most of them don't. Most of them now, Subway's just like the pre-cut out portions where it's just like they grab this paper and they slap the paper down, remove the paper, and that's. Do you think that's care?
Do you think it magically appeared that way in sleeves of paper?
Do you think that I had to me having to ask? Can I get a little bit more lettuce? Like that deserves a tip? Absolutely not. I will never tip a sandwich artist ever.
Boo.
Never.
Boo.
Bartender,
Boo.
I'll tip. If I have to,
it's the same thing.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Because you can get the bartender's love and attention and have them come to you more to get you more drinks and refills if you tip them. I don't get that with the freaking Subway sandwich artist.
What do? You hit it and quit it? You go to another Subway? Because that's what you need to do if you don't tip at least something.
If I don't tip at Subway, I get the exact same service. If I don't tip at a bar, that bartender won't look my way. Tell me I'm wrong.
Wrong. If you came to my Subway, and you were like, hey, here you go, dude. And you put that $5 in there, I'd be like, bro, I got you. I'll hook you up with chips. I'll hook you up with better meats. I will hook you up, brother. And if you're saying that you're getting bum ass sandwiches, it's because your ass don't tip.
Oh,
you
don't no tip. Way. Sancho would put Subway tipping on the PLE 100%.
I would put that. You know, you ask for mayonnaise, I will curl that bad boy on it. Make a little design on that bad boy.
Unbelievable that you think you should tip at Subway.
You know when they grab the bread, right, and they go like this. Give you a tip, I'm getting you that fast bread, brother. The freshest of bread, baby.
But like you can't tip until when you go to pay.
If I know you for tipping, I will take care of you with the onset. I'll give you the fresh bread.
You as some minimum wage employee will not know. I doubt Subway is paying tip
I would remember
outs.
your big thick ass. Yes, I would. You coming in with your 8th John Cena shirt with your hat and your wristband.
I'm just flexing as you make the sandwich.
I remember you, your jorts. You're sitting there watching wrestling content. Yeah, I would remember you. And
no way, brother, that you genuinely believe you need to tip the Subway guy.
As someone that worked in Subway, I would. I bet you're one of those guys that doesn't put the cart back. That's right.
No, I always put the cart back. Don't you make me out to be one of those horrible people. Do not tip at Subway. They do not need your tips. Sandwich artists get paid. No, they do not. No, they do not. No, they do not.
We do not get yeah, we do. You know why? Because hard times, daddy. Hard times.
do not Dusty Rhodes me.
It's hard time, daddy, if you're working at a Subway making sandwiches, baby. And you know what? Hard times make better people. That's right.
You know who deserves a tip? Jacob Fatu. My goodness, man. The service that this man is providing to viewers at home with his awesome work, with his with his protection services. The man is out of a walking boot. This man was working while in a walking boot. That man deserves a 15%, maybe 25, 30% tip.
I got a question for you.
I love you.
Love you. Thank you for your tip. I love you. Dog, why can't you love me like Jacob Fatu loves Solo? Man,
because man.
Solo is the same. I am your Solo. You need to love me like Jacob Fatu. Warts and all. Bad promos and all. A 14 thumbing to the GOAT of all time all. That's me. I am your Solo Sikoa, okay?
So in this fantasy of yours where you could be whatever you want, you've chosen Solo Sikoa?
If you love me like Jacob Fatu would, yeah. Sancho, I love you.
It is hype when he says that. It is hype. It is hype when he says that. It's pretty cool that Cody's planted the seed of Jacob Fatu being the real leader of that bloodline, the athlete, the man who took out the tribal chief, Jacob Fatu. He was offered a WWE championship match, but turned it down because Solo, I love you.
If I was Solo Sikoa, I would let him take that match and then just tell him to that would be interesting. Like that match actually happens, and then Solo's like purposely get DQ'd, and then Jacob's like, no, I want to win. Like I have a chance to win. He's like, no, I want you to hurt him. Like it's not about winning here, Jacob. I want you to actually put him through the ringer and get a DQ, and then that plants a seed, for more ammunition.
What if Jacob?
One day you're going to turn on me.
What if Solo forces Jacob to give him the title, like he forced him to give up the tag title to Tonga Loa?
Now you're in fantasy. Now you're in fantasy.
I know I'm in fantasy land.
I thought you were gonna say he gives the title to Tonga Loa.
That'd be so much better. That would be so much better. To my infamous. Oh, that would be so much better.
So I was like, what do
I do with this?
Hold up a belt like Tonga Loa. You got belts back there? Hold up that charger belt like Tonga Loa did. Yeah, the one in the basement that you care about. It's all dusty because you don't give a crap about that charger belt. Ladies and gentlemen, the audio listeners, we have an example of how Tonga. There it is. You can't even do it so like intentionally. That's how hard it is.
It's so hard to do it bad, but he did.
Oh God, your Chargers suck. I don't care if they beat the Raiders. Yeah, who cares? The Raiders had Gardner Minshew as the quarterback.
We looked great. We looked awesome.
Great. You know what? I had a thought. Walk down this road for me for a bit, and I know we're talking about something wrestling wise. I'm gonna go off the path for a bit. Should the NFL book games like wrestling? And hear me out. The Jets face the Niners. Why give Aaron Rodgers a tough opponent in the 49ers when they want him to be a marquee star for the Jets? And I know it's like, it's NFL. This is not the way you do it because it's real competitive, blah, 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 blah. I get it. But wouldn't you at the NFL give him an easier opponent to go against so he looks like a megastar coming out of that Monday Night Football game?
I mean, I don't care. Like,
I said walk with me.
Okay, if I'm going to walk with you, I'm going to hold hands with you. Yeah. I think it's different. I think they look at just like if you have superstars on your team, they always give like the biggest, most difficult marquee matches in primetime for you. Like the Chiefs are always facing like really tough teams generally. Aaron Rodgers, like dude, last year the Jets had such a tough schedule, and then without Rodgers, they got completely demolished. And it's just what the NFL always does. They always put the top teams with the biggest names, with the biggest markets, in the biggest marquee matches in primetime.
Chargers are not on primetime because they suck ass. You walked right into that one.
I'll have you know they have one Monday night game and one Sunday night game.
You wouldn't be booked. You'd be on main event. The Chargers.
Jacob Fatu.
Love you, Santi.
Jacob Fatu.
Easy. You get blinded by your love for John Cena, the Chargers, so easily. Hey, we won though. Hey, we won though. We're 1-0.
You good?
Yeah, let's talk about wrestling now.
Okay, where do you think all of this with Cody Rhodes is going to? Because we got him in a cage match. I'm sure that at some point, you know, the general manager of SmackDown, Nick Aldis, is going to be, it's War Games in it. At some point, he's going to announce War Games. And I'm just having a tough time seeing where, like, what's the bad blood match? Is it against Jacob Fatu? Seems like Kevin Owens is out of this picture. Like, he's not getting a rematch. Like, he's not turning heel. I don't know, man.
Maybe this is where Kevin Owens turns heel. I mean, because it has to be someone that's not bloodline related. That, like, there has to be a reason why it's in a steel cage, right?
Sure, yeah, but this also means that it can't be Solo versus Cody at Bad Blood. Not anymore.
No,
can't be.
That's off the table. That's
it has to be off the table.
Considering it is a steel cage as well, so there's like that's even out. Yeah, dude, I'm predicting that. You know, Bloodline jump Cody at the end. They're trying to shield bomb him. Kevin Owens comes in for the save, and then Kevin Owens turns here.
And that's where he just obliterates. Yeah, sure. Okay, I'm down with that.
Setting up Bad Blood.
And
will it main event? Kevin Owens versus Cody? Probably not.
No. And well, I wouldn't say probably not. I say it shouldn't, but I say it probably could in terms of like just WWE wanting Cody hometown to be on the main event, but I don't think it should. I still think it should be Hell in a Cell, which has been made official. And man, Adam Pearce, man, he was loving saying Hell in a Cell. It was like, you can tell, man, that was like a bucket list for him to be able to say Hell in a Cell.
I can't wait. They did it so well. I wish CM Punk was there though when they said it. Add a little bit of that pizzazz to it.
Pizzazz. I mean, I'm excited to see a Hell in a Cell. I think that they should have done another Hell in a Cell as well in Rhea and Liv, but it's clear that feud is not going to end at Bad Blood.
Okay.
Yeah.
Called it. I mean, people said like it doesn't have enough gas to Mania, but what else are these ladies going to, what else is Dom and Rhea and Damian going to do to Mania? Like, I don't see, unless you said the Wyatts getting involved, I don't see anything for them that is not gonna. They're printing money with this feud.
Yeah.
Hand over fist.
Yeah, I think,
and they made T-shirts for crying out loud.
At the very minimum, this is going to Survivor Series. Like I genuinely believe that. At the very, very minimum, this is going to Survivor Series. With this not having a stipulation, it's obvious that Judgment Day is going to be involved. They're probably going to help Liv retain here. I did feel like this was a perfect feud for a women's Hell in a Cell match. I felt like it justified it.
I wish the Terror Twins, and this could be the case. Walk me with here down for a minute. I wish the Judgment Day were playing a very long game to rope somebody in a face to destroy them and like turn heel again, which it's a very convoluted way because the Terror Twins are so good as faces, and Damian and Rhea are now on their trajectory on that end. But it'd be interesting if there was a way to reel them back in as heels, because they were still doing really well as a heel faction.
Sure, even with baby faces within the group at that point, right?
Right. There was a cool mix. I mean, what if this was a very weird, convoluted way to gain Jey Uso's trust to turn on him? I don't know. That's out there. That's too like. Again, I think Triple H's booking is much more straightforward than we give it credit for.
Sure.
Like, it's not as creative as we think.
Yeah. I'm kind of with you on that. I don't think that it's going to be as twisty and turny as we think that it's going to be. I think it is surface level enough where it's like, man, I don't think that there's this grand elaborate plot for this new Judgment Day to do what you're saying. I just don't see it. I mean,
no, because they're leaderless. They're leader, and I do say the new Judgment Day is missing an enforcer. Like every time I see their backstage, like there needs to be somebody that I don't even know off of anyone from NXT that would make a great addition to them, just to add a little bit muscle behind it. Because on paper, the Terror Twins are just dominant. It's just like Kobe and Shaq together. It's like there's no way. Like when you're thinking about Berlin, it's like there's no way the Terror Twins are going to lose. It's just look at Liv and Tom. They're not going to be able to outmatch or outmuscle them.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. Like they literally lost their two enforcers in Rhea and Damien. Like that was the 1-2 in terms of like physical presence and physical dominance of the Judgment Day, and they've lost that entirely.
Did you enjoy Finn Balor and Damien like having that face off on Monday Night Raw?
I loved it. I did like the face off. I didn't like Finn. I actually didn't like Finn and the Rey Mysterio thing. I think as much as you did. I felt like it needed to be more violent.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, I got myself disqualified. And I hit Rey twice. Ooh, I'm so evil. No, I felt like that was room for put him through a table over a barricade. Rip his mask off. Yeah, like put a hole in his mask. Like you really get really violent with it. And I didn't see that, which I was a bit disappointed by.
I see what you're saying. I think that is going to be a benefit of a 2-hour Raw, because I felt like that match was not needed. Because I mean, Finn came out twice. And I'm like, you know, I feel like those are the kind of things like once you see a wrestler, it's like, why do I need to see him again? We already saw what they had to do. So maybe that's a benefit of Raw going to 2 hours. But you did mention Drew versus CM Punk, Hell in a Cell.
Mm-hmm. I'm pumped, man. It has to be the end of the feud. I think you need a definitive winner. It should main event. It has potential, like on paper, to be a match of the year candidate. We'll see, obviously, like what the end result ends up being. But more than anything, I'm just like really curious as to once the smoke settles, what's next for these guys. I'm always looking forward, especially when we're at the end of a feud. Like this should sunset it.
I find it interesting, and I don't want to make this an AEW versus WWE conversation. And if you take it there, that's fine. If you're a listener or Santi, if you take it there, it's fine. But you have to look at Swerve versus Adam Page, Hangman Page, and the violence they got in that cage was astronomical.
Syringes, you got staplers, you got concrete cinder blocks.
Cinder blocks. And on top of that, even the thing they did with Bryan Danielson and putting a plastic bag over them, jeez. It is quite interesting. I mean, that I feel that the AEW has elected to be a violent version of sports entertainment in terms of pro wrestling. Not necessarily on even you could say it indie style violence, but I think this is much more elevated because there is production behind it.
Correct. Yes.
So they could get away with a little bit more. But I don't know. Like, if you're CM Punk and Drew and you're the WWE and you see that level of violence, and now you're looking at, well, this is bad blood. This is a PLE. This is supposed to be our ending of this feud that has gotten to the point where there has been a little bit of blood. And the strap match was kind of violent. It wasn't as violent as the dog collar match. It wasn't as violent as other strap matches that we've seen. I don't know what you can do, right?
Yeah.
I don't want it to be a finisher fest. That the strap match was.
I hope it's more a psychological match within the Hell in a Cell with violence inserted into it. I don't think that this will even reach 1% of the violence of Swerve Strickland versus Adam Page. No. There's no way. I do think that there's a place for that style of wrestling. And if AEW wants to fill that void, there's always that void. Like ECW filled that void and people flock to it. So there is absolutely a market for it. I just don't think that it lives in the world of the WWE.
Does this need AJ Lee to escalate the drama at least.
That'd be sick. If you're going to bring AJ Lee back, if you're going to, this is the best place for it.
Because I think it'd be so dastardly, and so it would ratchet up the intensity, because it kind of feels okay. A little sidebar. Roller Coaster Tycoon is a game where you could have thrills and
sorry, this is such a left turn to Albuquerque. Okay, Roller Coaster Tycoon, you completely caught me off guard.
Is a game that you could have thrill rides and things of that sort, and you could have roller coasters, you could have go-karts, and you always have a rating on the ride that the thrill or the intensity is so high, and you could have a basic thing and create that intensity. It doesn't need to be death drops. It doesn't have to have loop-de-loops and all these kind of sidewinder metal roller coasters. You could have a ride that has it ratchet up intensity with just different kind of tricks. And I think they could definitely ratchet up the intensity of this by adding this layer of drama like a Beth Phoenix and Adam Copeland or Edge into that, where if AJ Lee was in trouble and CM Punk has to go through that obstacle and Drew literally pulls AJ Lee off from the crowd into the Hell in a Cell and not necessarily hurts her in any way, because AJ Lee could take bumps, but just creates this monster type figure where he's willing to go all the way, and that makes, Wade Barrett get involved to try to stop Drew from doing anything to AJ Lee. Then that makes Wade Barrett a hero, puts him over a little bit, and then that sets up the thing with Wade and Drew, because Wade stops Drew from hurting AJ Lee or even CM Punk. So I think that is the last ace up the sleeve in this feud that we've been dancing around this entire time with a friendship bracelet, which they do sell now, by the way. Would you buy me it?
Really? You want the little friendship bracelet? Yeah,
I'll buy you one. Give it to me at TwitchCon.
I'll make you a friendship bracelet for TwitchCon.
Sancho, I love you. But I think that is the last card. Because remember when I thought the final boss would attack Pharaoh?
Bro, look at you now, dog.
Look at you, Dad. But not like a stuffed dog, like a stunt dog, like the Rock throwing him into the river, but it's not the real dog. You know what I mean?
You ever seen Anchorman where he punts the fake dog from Jack Black's dog off the bridge?
Yes, exactly that. So I think that's the way to ratchet up the intensity without like screwdrivers or syringes or any of that. Maybe there's a chain involved. Maybe there's a dog collar. There has to be something that thumbtacks. I think WWE could go that route. Maybe if they want to be cheeky, real glass. Like there's so much things that they could do that they could kind of ratchet it up. But they have to make Drew be this breaking point that he is no longer Drew McIntyre. He's something not recognizable. He's a demon, so to speak.
Oh, we definitely need Barrett for that commentary then. Exactly. Because he sometimes isn't for these PLEs. I think at the very minimum for this match, he needs to be on commentary for it. Or somewhere around. I would love for Barrett to, like you said, be the White Knight.
Voice of reason. Yeah.
Voice of reason. Help AJ Lee if she is there and Drew is about to cause her some pain, some damage. There's some really neat ways where this can go, and I'm excited for it either way. Because we're already talking so much about it, where things it could go, the possibilities of this, the fact that this is the culmination of an 8-month feud, this should absolutely, man, be the main event. It should. I have no second thoughts about that anymore.
Come to me with grace. And what I have to do as well is give a shout out to Joe Tessitore. So much better this week. Don't you agree?
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
even got some of the names right. Got the Inseguri right. There was one time where he said, Zelina Vega with that move. And I'm like, it's a Meteora, sir.
Yes, yes. Yeah. Like, so those are things that you learn along the way. There was a couple of those where I was like, well, actually, that wasn't necessarily that, Joe, but I appreciate the effort.
But the tribute for the hockey player, that's where Joe Tessitore shines. He could add that level of grace and solitude and reverence and easily with his voice. And he was on fire, man. If you look at the replays, I think he's going to be great. I think he's getting it that commentary is not so much about the whole story. It's more about clips. Because when they put that together for a vignette or a video package, you need like that hype for those clips.
And Joe Tessitore, like there was a couple of these video packages that were happening throughout Monday Night Raw, and Joe Tessitore did a really good job of like building into those hype packages and telling you why this feud matters, and then letting the hype package tell you more. It's cool. I think he's great. I think that he's just getting better with time. It's just the moves that he needs to learn, but what do you expect, man? Like, of course, he's not going to know. He's not going to have the entire arsenal of different wrestling moves in his back pocket. That's why Wade Barrett is a great addition to have alongside him.
And I noticed that they have the lower thirds, which is what their graphics are. And it says Joe Tessitore, play-by-play, Wade Barrett, analyst.
Smart, because it's true. It's true.
It's
100% true.
It's true.
Oh, Sancho, it's that time of the show. It is the new...
You sure? You sure? Can I take the bus? Go back a little bit.
Where's this going?
A little bit.
Oh, where are we going?
Logan Paul. Come on. Big story.
Logan Paul and Kevin Nash, bro. Kevin Nash, old ass boomer. Oh my God. This is the most boomer quote that I've seen, whining about Logan Paul making $5 million with all kind of expletives. I don't give a F how long, how many followers he's got. He's not one of the boys. He's only there every once in a while. He doesn't deserve all of this money. And that message, Logan, that comes from the boys. Shut up. My God, it's 2024. The boys. Shut up, Kevin Nash. It's not the 90s. It's not the early 2000s. It's different, man. The world has changed. Wrestling is not run by the boys. It's a corporation. It's a job, man. And he's out there to do his job, and he gets paid a certain amount of money to do his job because he brings X amount of eyeballs. Get out of here with this for the boys. Shut up, Kevin Nash. I loved Logan Paul's response to it too. I absolutely adored it. Him basically saying, yeah, I haven't been doing it that much. I don't really know who Kevin Nash is. And I guess that's my fault for not knowing wrestling, but isn't it crazy that I've only been doing this for so long and I don't really know wrestling all that much, and I'm better than almost all of them? At least I'm top 5. Like, I thought it was a great response, but, and Kevin Nash, he's just embarrassing himself with that quote. Like, just... it made me angry reading it, honestly.
A lot better than what was it? What he got mad as well about not knowing the terms?
Hell yeah. I mean, that's like, yeah, that sucks. He should know this stuff, but like, just that quote, it just really sat wrong with me.
But here's the thing that it is, I guess, the grand scheme of things or the scope of things, it's like Kevin Nash was that guy for his generation.
Yeah.
He was the Logan Paul. He was the one that was causing issues, that was bucking the trends, that was doing things differently that the older generation wrestlers did not like. He was the Click. He had Triple H. He went into Madison Square Garden and celebrated with the faces, and all the old heads at that time hated him. And then Triple H got punished for them, while Scott Hall and Kevin Nash went to WCW. Like, there's so many things that he was doing as a trailblazer that now he has a problem with Logan Paul trailblazing his own way, creating a new avenue and a new path for wrestlers who may not be on the road warriors type of things, but could still bring value to the business. And we always talked about that Logan does that by having the belt on MMA and UFC, having him running around with Jake Paul in those type of realms and celebrity things of that sort. And he made, everyone doesn't want to hear it, and everyone may not agree, but he kind of helped wrestling be cool again in those realms, in those circles, because it's Logan Paul being a WWE superstar made people go like, okay, we can't really clown on wrestling because Logan is a wrestler now. That type of vibe. And he opened up the door for other wrestlers to venture out in different realms. And as well, dude, it's like he set up, with Kai Cenat, like the Speeds and the Kai Cenats and the KSIs of the world, they could get involved. I'm waiting for Kai to show up somewhere. Like, there's so many opportunities that Logan brought to the table that is going to benefit the wrestler's overall top dollar, and that is good for business when it comes down to it all. Even the Prime packaging, the Prime logo in the middle of the ring got eventually on the ring, and I know that's, again, bucking the traditionalism trends. But Logan Paul, even though we did a whole segment that Logan Paul didn't do anything for the United States title, he didn't do anything in the ring. He definitely did stuff out of the ring for that United States title. which made LA Knight becoming champion so much more meaningful because he beat a very popular Logan Paul.
Yeah. I actually think that Kevin Nash's quote is so, and just his thoughts in general about like the current day product is so, it's such a good example as to why I feel like the podcasts from these legends are starting to lose a lot of steam, because they just focus so much on the negatives. They really, really do. They want to continue to live in this mind that it can never be as good as it was when they were there, when they were in their heyday. And so many of these podcasts from WWE legends or WCW legends always just revolves around the negativity of like, it's just not as good as it was when I was there. And like, to me, that's just so tone deaf. They clearly just have no finger on the pulse of what fans truly believe.
Well, it's different. You could say, yes, we have our criticism, and you may think it's negative and about certain programs or certain angles, but I think we're more tongue in cheek, right?
Sure, I'm not absolutely.
I'm not trying to say like someone's like an idiot.
I'm not offended by anything that happens on TV. Like,
correct.
Yeah.
Right. It's like we approach the product as if what's being presented to us. Like, this is what
consumers.
They want us to feel.
We're consumers. We're allowed to like and dislike things because the product is made for us to consume. If we don't like it, we don't like it. If we like it, we praise it.
And I think the other part of the card in this entire thing is that it is traditional ways of doing things versus the new way. I mean, we recently, a couple weeks ago, Jim Cornette did not understand what reaction wrestling content creators do, where we react and we, put our clips online and things of that sort. We are helping the business spread itself into casual audiences that may not understand what's happening in wrestling. Like, wait, because that's how I got back into the business, because of you getting me back in the product. Like, wait a minute, this is happening in wrestling? This is, stop. But I was like, that's interesting that this is happening. So for Jim Cornette to be like not understanding, labeling us as marks and things like that, which is fine. He's entitled to his opinions, and I have no problem with that. But at the same time, it's part of the business that is growing. It's still in its infancy of content creators now making content beyond dirt sheets, beyond the things like that, which we talk endlessly on. It's just, I don't think if Kevin Nash had a problem with Logan, there could have been a different way. Like, he could have just easily said, Logan should know the terms. If Logan's going to be a wrestler, he should at least respect the business and know the terms of wrestling. That's it. But for him to go dig deeper and then just say, like, one of the boys, that's where, and, Kevin Nash is entitled to his opinion, but yeah.
I just think that it's the reason why so many viewers of wrestling are looking for fan-driven content as opposed to content driven by industry experts. Because I think that there comes a point where industry experts like a Kevin Nash, right, somebody who's a legend in the business, they've just become too cynical about the product of today. Right. And I do believe that now people are looking for the water cooler conversation with other wrestling fans that are of the same mental wavelength and the same expertise as them, because we don't have any more expertise than you watching or listening to this podcast. You can relate to what we say, you can agree and disagree to what we say, but it's hard to do that with a Kevin Nash, because Kevin, you don't have the same experiences as a Kevin Nash or as any one of these legends that has a podcast. And I think that the tides are turning and people are looking for more of this style of content, kind of like how after enough time passed, people cared more about the user reviews of a movie than the critic score of a movie. How people started caring more about the Google reviews from people that ate at a restaurant over the connoisseur fine tasters that were posting their reviews in the New York Times. People eventually start to flock to the thoughts and opinions of their peers. And Kevin Nash clearly just doesn't represent that. That's why maybe it just sounds so jarring to hear somebody with that much reach talk like this about something about today's product. It's just, it's a different realm altogether compared to like what we do or any other fan-driven podcast, Stash Club, whatever it might be, how they talk about the product.
And I feel like Logan had the perfect heel response.
I love you. I love.
He knows who Kevin Nash is. Come on.
Of course
he knows who's Big Daddy Cool. And by the way, this is a perfect place to plug. Royal Rumble review on Patreon has been fantastic. I just watched Royal Rumble 1994, and we've watched 3 so far, and we have the entire Royal Rumble showed, at least until we get to the women, we'll have that as well. But Kevin Nash was cooking in that 1994 Royal Rumble. The dude was built as a monster. He cleared the ring, and he was taking people one-on-one. He was destroying people. And eventually, Shawn Michaels showed up, and then they had like a little thing where Shawn was like, look, man, we're cool. And then Kevin Nash got eliminated. But hey, man, I'm enjoying this series because I get so excited to see, like, oh my God, I remember this dude. I remember what he was doing. And I remember like all these feuds happening, and we're getting into that where it's more in my wheelhouse of like, well, who's these wrestlers? And we're going to get to the Razors. We're going to get to the Stone Cold. We're going to get to more of the Shawn Michaels that becomes DX. Like that's, to me, is getting me so excited because we're approaching the Attitude Era very, very quickly because we're in 95 is going to be the next one. So we're not yet at the Stone Cold level. Yeah, King of the Ring of 96 hasn't happened yet. So we're just there, but we're in the Bret Hart era, right? Which it's really cool. I'm serving plates.
Serving plates. I love that. I love that.
See, that's the New Day that I like, right? That like they're kind of like their tongue-in-cheek comments like, I'm serving dinner. Say, hey, and you're not allowed.
I'm not allowed to enjoy it. Yeah, I'm not allowed.
You can't do this. Yeah. Dun dun dun. There was something when Bret Hart came out, man, and he gave the glasses, and it broke my heart when they started giving back the glasses because I've always wanted the Bret Hart glasses. I always wanted that love. Are you ready, sir?
I am ready. Let's roll.
Are you ready?
Boom, boom.
Wow. No, boom, boom. You think AEW would ever invade WWE like DX did?
I mean, that'd be a sick angle. It'd be a sick angle. It would be. It would get me and a lot of people really, really interested. That's for sure.
Like who would do it? I think the Young Bucks would. Hey,
I'm bringing you back. I apologize.
Hey,
I apologize. We got some technical hiccups.
The Young Bucks would, but the new Jon Moxley would be a great person to invade.
Ooh, I would love to see it. I think it'd be cool. I don't know that they ever would, but it'd be sick.
What you would do is just have John show up to the arena and burn that ugly coat that he had.
Oh, the
Bane coat?
Yes.
Yeah.
Leave the mask behind, the gas mask.
Oh. And then he has to get arrested for like trespassing or something.
Or putting a plastic bag over somebody, attempted murder.
Jeez. In my head when that was happening, I was like, that's murder, brother.
That's murder, brother. I like that these isms of my vocabulary are starting to invade your brain.
Yeah, but what never invade is you not tipping Subway orders.
I will never.
This is the new. You should. This is the new Heat order. This is what the buzz, the excitement of all the fun that's been happening in wrestling that we put together. The great hosts of the Wrestling is Cool. Yeah, put it all together for you to be able to enjoy. We serve up those sweet dinner plates, and this is what you should be. You should be watching. You should be keeping an eye on because this list determines the future.
It's definitive.
It is definitive. Number 10, Uncle Howdy. Number 9, LA Knight. Number 8, Mello and Andrade. Number 7, American Made. Number 6, Queen's Court. Number 5, Braun Breaker. Number 4, Rhea. Number 3, Gunther. Number 2, Punk. Number 1, number 2, Punk. Number 1, Drew McIntyre. And NXT, we have Julia. We have TNA. We have Nick Nemeth. And AEW is the American Dragon. So, did you watch? We never talked about. Did you watch All Out? Did you watch
I picked matches to watch. I didn't have time this weekend to watch All Out. There's just so much going on.
And I know there's people out there like, how come they're not talking about Swerve and all this? We're not there yet. We're really working hard to build out this Wrestling is Cool empire, and that is one of the bullets. That is one of the milestones down the road is to add an AEW coverage. So don't you fret. Just give us time and your supports if you can. And if you're listening at this point, why not chunk us $5 a month? A cup of coffee.
Patreon.com/SantiZam. You could, instead of tipping your bum-ass sandwich artists, you could subscribe to the Patreon and get so much more than you'd get from tipping some bum-ass kid $5 to make your sandwich when he would make it the exact same way, regardless of getting tipped or not. I want to hear you disagree now because I got you by the balls. You can't disagree. Do you agree with me, Sancho? Do you agree with me what I just said, Sancho?
Santi, I love you. I have a quick question. No, I gave my $5 to the Wrestling is Cool podcast.
That's what I want to hear.
That's what I want to hear.
Para negar para myself.
Ooh, I'm gonna name my LV today. Who is number one, sir?
Oof.
Oof.
This one's tough, man. There's no one that like super uber moved the needle.
Collectively, I think the whole WWE moved the needle.
Sure. I like the idea of Gunther near the top this week. I really like the segment.
Yeah. No, let's give it to him.
Okay.
He said
that
Bill Goldberg
line
right to Bret's
good.
face.
I thought it was so good.
And Bret had to eat it.
He had to eat it, dude. It's so good. It was so good.
Because he was getting paid. And Bret was like, I think Bret pretended to be sick because he was like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this segment. And they tell me Bill Goldberg in my face. Bret, you're getting paid $1 million. Okay.
All right. Yeah, sure.
All right. Gunther at number one, who moves up 2 spots.
What about Drew McIntyre at 2?
I like it. I think Drew, when he went after, when he said, I have bad news, I'm like, oh,
right. Hear me out on number 3.
I'm hearing you.
Jacob Fatu. Just Jacob Fatu.
When the Edmonton crowd said, step up, step up, step, I was like, oh.
You're feeling Jacob Fatu at number 3. I can feel you feeling it.
I'm feeling it. Number 4. I did like Judgment Day beating down the Terror Twins and then Damian protecting Rhea. That was a cool little thing.
Do you want to put New Judgment Day? They had a good Monday Night Raw.
Not that high.
Okay.
Not that high.
Not that high.
Not that high because of the Finn Balor match kind of,
Sure.
So, you know what? I will put the New Judgment Day.
What about Cody Rhodes here?
Cody
Rhodes.
I like do you enjoy this wrestling trope where the faces try to get the heels to fight amongst each other with psychology?
I mean, Karrion Kross is doing that, and I know you love it. So why wouldn't you love it on the other way around?
Because
tell the world you love the Karrion Kross stuff. Everything that he's doing, everything is great that Karrion Kross is doing. Say it loud. Tell everybody.
Malfunction. It's like a robot AI. Well, wait a minute. What else? Why Cody?
I mean, he's got that match. He's got the cage match. He's the one that's trying to start crap with Jacob Fatu. He called out Solo Sikoa in a pretty decent promo. I liked it. I like what Cody did.
Oh, what about Braun Breaker at 4? Went to everybody in their face, had a fun moment.
No match though. I feel like for Braun Breaker to be in his high moments, I feel like he needs to have a match.
Okay. So Cody Rhodes at 4.
No, I changed my mind. Bronson Reed returning and doing what he did to Braun Strowman, number 4.
Okay.
You vibe with that?
I like Bronson Reed. I feel that Bronson Reed is we were worried that he would be fed to Gunther and he hasn't. So that's a W.
That's how I see it.
Thumbs up. Any love for Sami Zayn?
Yeah, I thought Sammy was fine. The Johnny Gaudreau, jersey in Calgary, protecting Bret Hart. Bret. I don't know if he's this high, but maybe a bit lower.
Like 9?
Maybe in the 9 area. Yeah.
Okay. I'll put him at 9. That sounds right.
Gio Vinci, it's buzz. We're talking buzz. We're not talking if they're doing great, if they're doing bad. It's buzz, Sancho. I'm using our definition against you here. Tell me Gio Vinci doesn't have buzz, and I'll stop this argument. If you tell me right now with a straight face that Gio Vinci has no buzz, I'll lay off.
I'll put him at 10.
Okay. All right. We'll take it.
Thank you. All right. So that leaves us the Terror Twins, Braun Breaker, American Made, Queen's Court, Melo Andrade, LA Knight, and Uncle Howdy in the Wyatt 6. For the audio listeners, he is doing the posing like Giovanni Vinci. He's pretty decently cut.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh dude, he's in fantastic shape. Yeah.
I was worried that his orange tan would get on his white Gucci suit. I was so worried about that.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry. What do we have left?
We have the Terror Twins. We have Judgment Day. We have Armelo and Andrade, LA Knight, Uncle Howdy, Queen's Court.
Sorry, what number do we have? left?
5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay, Jey Uso we might want him in there.
Being the number 1 title contender.
Yeah.
Intercontinental.
I feel like we need Jey Uso and LA Knight in here.
Okay, so I'm gonna put Jey at 5.
Okay.
Because this is an actual legit shot that he could beat him. And I don't think if Jey Uso beats Braun, I don't think that hurts Braun Breaker.
Okay.
Because he could tank it out. I think he could tank it out.
All right.
Legit. Would it be bad? I wouldn't see it as a bad thing for his Intercontinental. It's different than if, like, for example, let's just put this real quickly. If Cody lost quickly and lost the belt, that would hurt Cody so much more than a Braun Breaker losing his belt quickly in the IC title, because he can easily win it back. Easily win it back. Okay, 6, 7, 8. I'm gonna put Judgment Day at 6.
Okay. What about Wyatt 6 after that?
Okay. Over LA Knight?
No. LA Knight before Wyatt 6.
So Wyatt 6 at 8.
Yes.
LA Knight underneath Jey Uso and Judgment Day.
Yes.
All right.
And I think that's our 10, right?
Yeah.
NXT, keep Julia, honestly. I would say AEW, John Moxley.
Yes.
And then,
over Hangman Page?
Yeah, I'd go Moxley. I mean, no, you've got me there. I think I might go Hangman.
I mean, for Hangman Page, I think what solidified that is that moment that after the match when he went towards the ring and everyone was like, "Oh my God, he's coming back," and then he stopped for a second and then turned around. That was pretty good for him, man. He's definitely getting better. I just feel what AEW needs to do is realize when they have something white hot, let's not blow it up too quickly. You know, you got to let that bad boy simmer after that hotness. You know, let that. Yeah. You know, when you have the stove on, you can't just shut it off, because then don't touch it right away. You know what I mean? You gotta let that heat sit there for a bit.
TNA, I would go Jordan Grace. She's got the NXT, the TNA Championship Open Challenge on NXT, which is pretty sick.
Yes.
And I think that's our list.
Who's she gonna take? Who's gonna step it up?
Oh man,
Natalya?
No. I think this would be kind of crazy if they were to do like Stephanie Vaquero or Delta here as a debut.
Oh God,
that'd be crazy. That'd be wild. That'd be so sick.
Yeah, but you can't have them losing their debut unless they beat Jordan Grace.
Could end in a disqualification. You know, somebody comes in and attack, like an Ash by Elegance comes in and stops and ends in a disqualification or something. There's ways.
Shout out to Dana Brooke, dude.
I like Dana Brooke.
Keep on trucking.
She's so tiny, dude. I met her at Dynasty Wrestling. Puny human. It's
really,
yeah, so short. So short.
Did you give her the proper respect? You're like,
No, I just introduced myself.
I'm Santi.
Pretty much. Why'd you make me sound like Morty from Rick and Morty? Ash, nice to meet you. I'm Santi.
I react to wrestling content. I have my own podcast, Dana. Is that what? Did you tell her what you did?
No, I think she just thought I was a producer or something, or like a laborer working in the back.
Santi, you weren't dressed to impress that day.
No, I was not. I was there to be a wrestling fan.
You look like a bum.
Yeah.
I was like, why is he wearing shorts?
What? Do you think I should got Gucci? Did Giovanni Vinci?
Yes, brother.
Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you listened this far into the show, that means you're a big fan. Please show us some support over on Patreon, patreon.com/SantiZap, where you get the Wrestling School podcast 3 days early, the Raw review, SmackDown reviews, the Royal Rumble in review, and you also get the 5 weekly match clubs, I should say.
And Royal Rumble in review, brother.
I said that.
On the Saturdays.
Stole my thunder. I said that.
I was looking at my fingers. I chew my nails.
Oh, me too, man. It's hard not to. But folks, thank you so much to the $15 patrons at the tier that are our producers. They get their name read out. There's a special extra thank you because they've tipped their podcast sandwich artists.
I kid you not. I was a real Subway artist, bro, when I was 15 years old.
You're a sandwich boy. Stop calling yourself an artiste.
I had a shirt that said sandwich artist.
You were a sandwich boy.
I made the best sandwiches.
Put the meat on the bread. Put the meat on the bread.
Ew. Put the meat in the bread. Ew.
Thank you to Santi is Daddy. F.U. Santi, I'm First. Nick Harvey, 2022 Benjamin, Aaron Garcia, AC Big Mac, Adam McLeod, Akira Kemp, Alex Ragel, Alan Crockett, Andy Taylor, Anita Maxwin, Asher McYoda, Asperlitz, Ozzy Kingslayer, Austin Weaver, author L.M. Wittenhagen, Ben Calloway, Barry, B. Hostile, Big Poppy Sasquatch, Brady Keaton, Braden Mazur, Brian Dardis, Bryce Burt, Buxo, Caleb Lee, Callsign Caveman, Cameron Noel, Carlos Gonzalez, CB Chupapi, Chickpea Bean, Christian Billick, Christian Ormsby, CM Puff, Colby Johns, Colin Roach, Connor Williamson, Dallas Fletcher, Danny the Chat GF, Dar, DJ Broadnax, DJ S8715, Dumsky, Eric, quote, Theory Gonzalez, Ethan Latch, Isatch, the Chargers won, suck it nerds. Hey, Fish Reel, you hear that, Sancho? You're a nerd. You're a nerd.
You're not on prime time. You're a main event wannabe.
Fletcher Walpole, Forever Wrestling, Gamerscape, George Valdez, Gilbert Deans, GXA Man, Harley McClure, Hayden Thornton, Heartfelt, I'm in love with Sancho, Issa David, Is Mista, I'm gonna nut in Santi's protein shake, Jackson Conley, Jacob Pena, Jacob Saffel, James Abel, James Brian Belugo, Jasam Alcazar, Javier Arenas, Javier Rodriguez, Jalen Steele, Jeremy C. Moreau, Jesse, Joe Velez, Jonah, Jonathan Daly, Jordan Lynch, Juan Verduzco, Judson Daniels, Justin Perkins, Caden Rivers, Candine, Kasu, Kuwaiti Rick Buggs, Lil Shifu, Manly Man, Manuel Marufo, Marnie YCSM, Matthew Dollar, Michael Dean, Michael Walter, Mohammed Albanai, Monte Moore, Neb, Nellen Zach, Nicholas Kyle, Nighthawk, Peachmania, the True Tribal Chief, Phoenix, Prince Vegeta, Reaper God, Ricky Dutcher, Rodolfo Reyes, Ryan Fear, Riley. Santi is the Genetti of the podcast. So hang on. I am not the Genetti here. I am not the Genetti. Saudi Rig Boogs, Scream Scott, Serenity, Seth, Shane, Shawn Michaels, right nostril, Silver Football, Solo so fat we should call him a duo, Steven Rhodes, Stucky, Sugar Shane, Super Malachi Galaxy, the final boss, the Gaming Freak, the thought of Santi's oiled toes in my pre-workout, brother, damn, Tobias Burnett, Tom Lehman, Trend Head, Two Crown, Wesley Simpson, Wesley Vanderstein, Javier Izquierdo, you know what? Sancho, Bronson Reed should oil up, Zerg Zito, and Lord BB&J. Thank you all for supporting the channel the way that you have at the $15 tier. And everybody, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Wrestling is Cool podcast. You folks take care. Be wonderful people. Goodbye.